What is up, Friday Nighters? Welcome back to another episode of Just Another Friday Night. It is, in fact, not Friday. It is Thursday night. And you might say, man, these guys are fucking super confused and they're on the wrong night. But no, we're aware of what it is. If you guys are paying any attention to the news, you know that our president today signed into law a new holiday, making tomorrow a national holiday, Juneteenth, and making people that work in government offices.
Yeah, June 19th is actually Saturday, but you know, those lucky few are get to be off tomorrow. So that's awesome.
Your wife, I'm pretty sure your brother who works for the government.
Just about every other person that works for a federal government.
I haven't talked to my dad, but my dad also works for the government. So maybe
what a nice surprise, right? It's Thursday, it's late. Hey, you know what? You don't have to come to work tomorrow.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
We got the announcement from the office that I work at. They told us that, which is deals with the city stuff. So that's cool. Not in my particular position because I don't get paid for being off, but it's nice to have the day off anyway. So, guys, also too, we think that Juneteenth is really awesome. In fact, last year at this time, in our first year of being a podcast, we did an episode about Juneteenth, and we talked about all the great African Americans that have contributed to pop culture and the things that we like. Yeah,
music,
we
writing,
did music,
shows.
You talked about Chuck Berry. We talked about John Singletary, Denzel, and that's why I'm wearing my man right here, Muhammad Ali. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Because obviously a great contributor, great champion, boxing and
the boxing king.
Yeah,
of that era.
Man, and the world of talking and things like that. I mean, like talking trash.
Yeah, I mean, wrestlers say they got their stuff from him, which he in turn got it from Gorgeous George, the old wrestler.
Yeah,
so.
And he even fought Superman in the comic book world. So you know what I mean? That's a pretty damn sweet. Does that issue go for a lot, Double A?
Yes, it does.
Shit, I'd love to have that bad boy. Yeah. Mario Delgado, if you're out there, let me know. You can do
shit.
Speaking of which, man, let's make a quick mention of that. Double A. We had a great little visit with Mario Delgado yesterday, right?
Yes, it was.
We had some stuff going on, and Mario invited us over to his home, and we got to visit with him. And wow, what a great visit! We haven't caught up with him since our last episode. Really, we've talked, but really catch up and sit down and just shoot the breeze. And man,
that's all we did. Yeah, we just shot the breeze, talk comics. Debating where they're gonna go, what's the next step, and all that kind of stuff. So it was pretty damn cool. It was just nice to just shoot the breeze,
Yeah. He heard our Gabe Flores episode, who we met through Mario, so that was great, and so it was very, very cool. But you guys know how I like to do it here. We like to open up with the comments. You guys joining us and saying hello. I let a few of you know we were going on an earlier day, a whole day early today. Yes, tonight, guys, Double A does have to work tomorrow, so we're doing this number tomorrow. Well, you guys know me. I'm taking a little bit of a break.
I can do it. I can get drunk and still go to work tomorrow if I wanted to.
Not me, not anymore.
It's fine.
So who's in the house tonight? Double A, hit me, adrenalize me with these comments.
We got some of our faithful in. Richard, what's up, guys? And he goes, he wishes it was Friday.
I know. Me too.
Steve in the house. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Steve.
Cheers.
Here's to you, brother. Sorry, it's just the old, the soft stuff right now. Jason Ruiz is in the house.
Jason,
from
what's up, man?
What's up, Jason? Glad you made it in, man, on a Thursday night. Appreciate that. Steve says, does that go for the banks? I would think so. You used to
work at the bank, so most of the time you would get the holidays off, right?
Yeah, that's right. And all the national holidays. I would think so. If you are working at a bank, I would think they would have let you know by now, though. But I imagine that it will be.
News,
Let's see.
Go ahead.
Co-creator of our logo just says, yay, we get to have our guys tomorrow. I just told Double A's wife that earlier. I said, I'll let you have your husband on a Friday night.
I'm taking her out tomorrow. So.
Yeah. And then the man himself that we were talking about, Mario Delgado, says, hey, my friends, guys, we want to let you know, Double A, you got some great stuff to show, right? Came courtesy of
So that was like one of the reasons why we did go over too. We both had some pickups because Mario's still working. He's still in the comic book game.
That's right.
I had asked him to look for certain comics for me. I've collected a lot, so I'm kind of starting to go more and more outside. And I told him one of the characters that fascinated me was the Mask.
Mhm.
I love the movie, and then I was shocked when I found out back then when I was a kid that it was a comic book before, and a very violent comic book character. So I asked him, I go, hey Mari, if you can help me out, get some mask appearances, that'd be super awesome. So he called, he said, hey man, I have those books whenever you're ready. So I got the first appearance. This was for me though. I did have to look very hard for this one. It's the first appearance of the mask. It's a really nice copy. It's really hard to get.
Let's put it in the camera, though, later, because I don't think people know who we're talking about. If you've ever seen
the Jim Carrey one,
and look at how that's spelled there, guys. The Mask, M-A-S-Q-E, almost like Mask of the Red Death from Edgar Allan Poe.
And you can see like how ugly the character is.
It's creepy looking, scary.
So Mario helped me out with these other books because we went to a comic book show and no one had these comics whatsoever. And so he got me the second appearance of the Mask, which I always love what he does here. October 87, second appearance of the Mask.
A true hallmark of a Mario book when it has the facts on the back.
He gave me the third appearance.
Very nice. Very nice.
Right there. And he got me the fourth appearance of the Mask.
Cool.
So again, guys, all you have to do, hit him up on his Facebook page, Authority Comics. Ask him, hey, do you have this comic? Do you have this one? And he'll hit you up. He'll message you back and he'll be like, hey, let me see what I can dig up. All I did was just ask. I asked him, hey, Mario, do you have any Dark Horse Presents of the Mask? And he goes, yeah, I'll dig them up. He found them for me, 3 of them. And I can't, express my gratitude enough that he was able to do that. So, hit him up on his Facebook page.
I did not have a chance to bring my books, Mario, that you hooked me up with yesterday, that we were able to work out together.
Great deals. Great
deals, guys. And again, if you need Mario's email, there it is right there, sprmario72@gmail.com.
It's real easy.
I wanted to look at some Steve Ditko art. I cannot afford Steve Ditko art. So Mario,
for some reason, he was like, golly, I'm really into the Steve Ditko stuff.
I blame you.
And I was like, shit,
why.
You're going into like that really, really hard category.
That's out of my price range. But I wanted to look at it and enjoy it just for me. You know how we do. We're readers. We like to read it ourselves. And so because Double A had me watch this fantastic documentary that's on YouTube, and it's free, and it's just really it's called
It's official. It's an official doc.
Called Finding Steve Ditko, and it's really neat. And this guy, that's English guy, is looking up, he wants to meet Steve Ditko and wants to interview him.
He became super, super reclusive after his work at Marvel, like super bad, where no one would even see him. Like it took a while before they even found his body when he died.
Wow, really?
It took like 3 days before someone was like, hey, Steve's not answering. Steve's, he's not doing his usual, I guess, stuff.
Right.
So it even took a while to find out that he was dead.
So it's kind of neat too, because it's like there's very few pictures of the man, like very few. It was very mysterious. And then he became like a fan of these books that your older brother had read, the Ayn Rand books. And I was like, oh wow. So Atlas Shrugged and stuff like that.
Which makes sense with the attitudes that been described from him. Right. It makes sense.
Right. It's very mysterious, the whole thing. It would be a great movie one day. It would be a fantastic movie, someone that could dig deep and get info.
But obviously, as you know, he's always credited as being one of the main fathers of Marvel.
That's right. That's right.
And he hooked up CM. He got him a really, really beautiful reprint of Amazing Spider-Man 33.
That's right. That one. Yeah.
It's a famous cover where Spider-Man's, buried under all this heavy shit, and just the artwork just pops. And it is known as being the last Ditko art on Spider-Man. He also did a lot of great work on Doctor Strange. If you guys ever noticed, I've talked about it before, but how Spider-Man shoots the webs like this, that's Steve Ditko's influence drawing like that. And Doctor Strange casts spells like this. It's the same thing. And what I've heard, and I've mentioned this before on this show, is that Steve Ditko, people that knew him would say that he would point to things like that, like, hey, can you get me that, this, that, or that's
that,
crazy.
So that's kind of cool. He incorporated that into his art. So if those old books, you see them both kind of do their hands like that. So anywho, Mario found that and a reprint of Doctor Strange's first appearance for me.
Which, again, this comic is super cool because at the time, Marvel in the late 70s were reprinting a lot of their first. So this one that he got CM, it's like the first appearance of Neymar in the Silver Age, the Hulk issue 3, I forgot the third one.
I forgot the third one also.
And then it reprints Doctor Strange's first appearance. I've never even seen any pages of Doctor Strange's first, so I would really like to see it when you get done.
Yeah, I'll bring it next week so we can open them up.
I've never even came close to reading Doctor Strange's origin, but to just see that artwork in there, and man, you got Jack Kirby in there and Steve Ditko in that reprint.
I can't wait. I still haven't opened them yet, Mario, so I'm still waiting, but I'm going to open up and take a look. But yeah, guys, so a couple more comments have rolled in. Joe says, what's up, boys? And then this great one right here, Mario. I hope you read that one. From Jason Reese. I miss Mario Delgado, as do we all. Yeah. So it was great to see him. Rich in the house. Rich says, so is it the same concept like the movie? Do you mean in regards to Doctor Strange? Or the mask. I think you're talking about the mask, right, Rich? I don't know.
If you're talking about the mask, no. In the comics, it drives you insane, completely insane. Where like in the movie, it seems like it kind of heightens the personality that you are. Like with Stanley, he was like a funny guy, like cartoons, and all that shit. So it amplified his personality like that. Whereas the gangster, it amplified his, I'm
trying to think of his name.
Murderous. But how he was like a gangster, so it amplified that. Yeah. Here, it just drives you completely insane.
Dorian.
Yeah, Dorian. But here, it just nuts. It's different. It's way, way different.
I always knew it was very dark, so it's very dark. Interesting.
Yeah.
We'll have to get more from
I'm actually surprised they even allowed that to be a movie. I'm after all the changes and everything.
That might be worth comparing and contrasting the way we did the Negan issue to the Negan episode. Yeah. We should maybe do the mask, the first couple, maybe arc versus the first the movie.
It's different.
I know that movie pretty well because I felt like that was a movie they played at school. It was like they showed it all, and it did look cool.
I liked it. It's still funny. It's good. I liked it a lot.
To me, really that's cool. Cameron Diaz at her hottest. Like when she was like, that's when it was like she changed completely.
She did. She just looked great.
Yeah. And coming up right there from Mario, new slabs in today, posting mañana. I cannot wait to see that. And guys, as we put in our banner right there, now Mario has a shop on Facebook. So if you've ever shopped on Facebook before, it's very easy. You can just directly message Mario.
Yeah, you can just go to the page and you can just click on the pictures. It's right there. It's right in front.
He's got great high dollar graded books on there. Steve, if you're still with us, man, I want to tell you something that I did get to see in person with my own eyes. The Herculoids. I recognized them once I saw it with my eyes. I was like, oh, that cartoon. So very cool. And Mario says he has some stuff I think that is going to get graded or got back in the new slabs that is graded. It's a pretty up there price point, Steve, but very, very neat. And if that is like your thing, like the way I love like Superman or whatever, the price might not be an object for you, you know what I mean? But Mario does have Herculoid stuff, and it looked pretty damn cool from what I saw. The figures or statues, was it a statue? I think it might have been a statue or a set of figures, but they're very cool. But he also mentioned some comic books as well, Steve.
Well, I know Steve was talking about getting into maybe the comic game.
Yeah, something collectible that definitely you could pass on, to your daughter, Steve, and eventually, like I said, when she eventually has her children, that it'd be definitely something that will be. It's already, when it's graded, it's already like an investment. It's like it's already worth way more than it is outside of that casing.
Like, guys, all you have to do is just email Mario, ask him
or something you're looking for. Like I said, he can find things not encased, and then he can find things graded for you. So that's very cool.
You just have to email him or go to his webpage.
So let's see. Let's in the house. Let's says hello, handsome. Hello, beautiful. So we appreciate you coming and joining us on a Thursday. Let's see here. And then says, Jess says, what an awesome guy Mario is. We miss his wizardry and as he greeted his customers, talked to old friends, and still had time to cash you out when you were ready.
Yeah.
I mean, Jessica, that is a great comment. We definitely iterated to him when we saw him yesterday. And AA.
I've mentioned it before on so many episodes that you don't get that same customer service.
Mario, I hope you're reading that comment up on the screen right now, Mario. Very, very heartfelt comment from my lovely lady.
We've already got 2 comments, Mario, that you're very missed,
very missed, man. Yeah. So, but guys, definitely reach out to Mario again. Go check out his shop on Facebook. You can still shop Authority Comics, but it's just online now. Not the same as being with the man himself, but still you get that same level of customer service through communicating through Facebook. And if you need something that's particular, you can always send the man an email sprmario@gmail.com. Let's get back into the comments. Double A, what else do we got here?
Go to Joe's right here.
Let's see.
He said Neymar is coming in the cinematic universe.
I heard the casting rumors are out and about. Joe, what do you know about who's going to be cast? I saw that guy, but he didn't really have a look that I was hoping for. I was like, that guy? I'm like,
I know we're like, we're hoping like Henry Cavill will come in, someone big with the physique,
I mean,
it looks like they're gonna go. Well, you know what? I bashed Hugh Jackman first time around, so hey, who am I? I'm not gonna bash anymore.
Yeah, whoever they get, that's fine. Where does he come from? What are his
what? I'm because I remember my brother bashed Heath Ledger. And he was like, oh wow, okay.
Well, we never thought anyone could fill Jack Nicholson's shoes. I mean, like, and again, it's very different Jokers. I mean, so it's like they're all good, you know what I mean? And when we saw Joaquin, hey,
but do you remember that first time seeing Heath Ledger and just being blown away?
Oh
just
man,
like, wow.
Yeah. I mean,
like, holy shit, this was a great fucking Joker.
It was so funny because it's like, as much as you love Batman Begins, like The Dark Knight is just that much better. You're like, oh man, this is like such a great movie. Like, so very cool. Mario says, go ahead, Double A.
He goes, I got a great story about when Romita reluctantly took over Spider-Man for Ditko. We'll talk.
I want to hear it.
Yeah.
And it says, sounds like it'll be a good read.
I'm going to check him out. Yeah. So I finally got my first 4, so I'm going to start going through those. So.
And we recently had a conversation, me and Double A, about how we sometimes kind of, we don't mean to, but we kind of stick in Marvel and DC, but we really want to talk about some Image books and other books outside of that, you know what I mean? Because we have interest in that.
Yeah, I've gotten like stuff from the Mask. Mm-hmm. Spawn was like my first ever books that I started buying with Spawn. Yeah.
It struck me when you were looking for the Mask. I was like, oh, okay, like into that, like all of a sudden. But we just both go in these holes. I like a lot of Star Wars comic books, and they were done by different people.
It's like I told you, like, when I like rock music, but sometimes you've heard it where I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm kind of tired. Let me listen to some rap, which you've heard in my car,
and this is something that, well, at least I know your oldest brother would never go for. No, like, you know what I mean? No. Boy never changes the dial, you know what I mean?
But it's like every once in a while, you're just kind of like, I remember when it was just WWE. And I went outside WWE, and that's where I found Ring of Honor, so when it was the indie darling. Okay. That with some Joe and CM Punk.
Oh, you're the one that got me into all that
so
type
it was kind of like just that. Sometimes after a while, you just get tired of reading Spider-Man and Hulk and Wolverine and Superman and Green Lantern.
Superheroes sometimes.
Sometimes you want to read The Crow, Max.
We talked about this with Mario yesterday, and you kind of showed me some stuff you had. It was like there was a time when we'd just buy a bunch of books from our favorite character. Let me tell you guys, if you have like 100 issues of Wolverine, they're probably not all gems. You know what I mean? A lot of them are like, just kind of dud books. I've always liked the Punisher, but I really loved the Garth Ennis Punisher. And then it would seem like everyone that took over right after it sucked. They get like Frankencastle and all this.
They take it too over the edge, and you're just
right. He was possessed by demons at one time, and it was like, what the fuck? Yeah. So Joe says they said some dude from Narcos. Is he a Mexican dude, Joe? Is he Latino?
You know what? From the one I saw, it looked kind of Asian-ish.
Okay,
because I think they're trying to go for an Asian look for Neymar.
Oh, really?
I think.
Okay,
just because of the way he's always been drawn.
I wonder if I saw a different guy, because the guy I saw looked like he might have been, I guess you'd call it Indian, like from India. That's what I thought he looked like. But again, we might have seen different dudes. Yeah. So let's see what else here. Foxy Roxy says, hey guys, happy Thursday. Rox, thanks for joining us on a Thursday. I just messed up my hair, which I can see that I did that. But yes, thank you. We're doing an early one today, and we're going to talk a little bit more about early shows in just a second here. Jason says, what's going on this weekend?
Well, Father's Day weekend. That's what's going on this weekend.
That's on Sunday, Jason. But also, I heard that at Trader's Village, at Andy's Toy Shop, I'm gonna fuck up his name. But one of the guys, the 4 guys from the Broken Lizard team. So if you like Beer Fest, Super Troopers, let me look
at
Club Dread,
Super Troopers 2.
Right.
I mean, they don't have like a big body of work. Beer Fest.
But if you love those movies, they're like cult classic movies.
At one point, everyone was even talking about Weed Fest.
Yeah.
At one point.
Eric Stolhansky. So if you remember in Beer Fest, and this is the movie I know him best from because I've seen Beer Fest a bazillion times and I love it. But there was the 2 brothers. So not the one with the curly hair, but the other one, the one who's like
clean shaven one.
Yeah, the one who was clean shaven and the one who's like his wife gets screwed by the other guy, or got screwed by the other guy. Yeah. So that guy, maybe you can see this pic if I put it on my phone. So Eric Stolhansky will be over at.
I mean, if you guys are just fans of Super Troopers, I mean, that's probably their most popular one. Super Troopers.
I'm not drinking. Yeah, and then there were Super Troopers too. I've seen Super Troopers, but again, I love Beer Fest. Vastly,
but I mean, these guys are super popular. Beer Fest, I mean, Super Troopers 2 was pretty much no one wanted to make it, and they took it to a crowdfunding. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
And they actually raised the money through that.
Yeah.
So they were able to make Super Troopers because of the fans.
Well, that's the cool thing about Broken Lizard. That's what they kind of call their little core group of guys that do things, is that they fund their own stuff all the time. Like they do it. Yeah. They choose to write movies together and make movies together, and then they get.
I'm surprised that no one wanted to do it, because I was like, that's a sure hit, right there.
I know. I'm like, you couldn't take that to Netflix or Amazon Prime, and they'd be like, like, I feel like Amazon's just giving money away. Like, we should just approach them with a project. Like, would y'all want to do just another Friday night movie about a project? Like, we'll do it. Fuck it. We'll put it on there.
Put some dramatic effects too.
Did you hear the recent Roman Reigns comment that he says that Cena and Rock shouldn't come out? They should just keep doing their straight to streaming movies. I'm like, you're in one of the Rock's movies, you asshole.
I know.
It's good heat, good heel heat.
So I was like, okay, maybe they're setting something up.
And I was like, Roman Reigns, when did Paul Heyman write that for you? That's a little bit too good for you, brother. You don't be getting good ones out like that.
It's funny, right? He's saying what Cena said.
Yeah. It's been said. Joe says maybe he's a Latino called Chino, and we got him in our fam. Okay, I mean, we've got Chino, your boy Chino from Deftones,
Chino Moreno.
Right? So you know what I mean. Can't go wrong with that. Roxy says Beer Fest. You know what? I'm not drinking right now, guys. But if I bought that guy a tall glass of beer, I would drink a beer with that guy right now. Because I'd be like, well, the one time I drank was when I drank with the guy from Beer Fest. Drink again. So let's see what else we got here. Roger says the one with one leg. He only has one leg. Am I missing something? I remember Mr. Popo. Mr. Popo. Broken Lizard is good stuff, Joe says, and Rich says his name from Narcos is Tena Huerta, and they are thinking about getting him his name. Or okay, I mean, I'm there for it. So Huerta sounds Latino, so
big time
Latino Namor. All right, I'll fuck with that. I'm on board for it.
Oh wow.
So so he only has one leg in real life, Roxanne. He only has one leg. Tell us more. How did that happen? How did that come to be?
Shit. All right.
I did not know that. I mean, they don't play up that fact in the movies at all. Guys, so real quick, I want to get to our calendar here. So we're going to talk about some stuff. So obviously we're doing an early show today. Because I happen to have the day off tomorrow. AA does unfortunately have to work, but it's going to free up a Friday night for us to go do some other things we got to do. It's
summertime.
It's summertime. AA is a dad. Father's Day is this weekend. I got a little guy.
Got a big family too.
I got a little guy at home too. I like to take care of as well as spend time with my lady. So also next week, guys, we're gonna do a Thursday show for you. We're not gonna skip any weeks. We're gonna give it to you a little bit early. So Thursday next week, the 24th, we'll be on Thursday night. It'll be just another Thursday night that night. So I hope you'll join us. At least the guys are here. We're also kind of wondering what this is going to do for our numbers, guys. Since everything opened up after the pandemic, numbers have dipped a little bit on the live viewership because people are out on Friday night because it's Friday night. So we get that. That's totally fine. We don't do it for the numbers. You know what I mean? We do it because we like to do it. But, we'll be doing this Thursday night next week as well. So please watch and join us there. I may send texts out again to some of the very, very, very faithful Friday nighters and let you know. Now, in July, on the 2nd, we'll return to Friday. So the Friday before the 4th of July, we'll be back on Friday night. But then that following week on July the 7th, we're going to do a show on a Wednesday. I'll be out of town on Thursday, Friday. So we'll be doing our show for you guys on Wednesday. It'll be just another Wednesday night. And we've done this in the past. You guys know we did our Christmas Eve episode, on a Wednesday, because of the holidays. So then the very following week right after that, July 15th, we're going to be going early again on Thursday night. So then it'll be just another Thursday night. We should just call it just another Thursday night for the next month. But then after that, we return back to normal, guys, back to Friday nights by the end of July. But, it's just because, like we said, it's summertime and we're doing that stuff. And plus, it'll let us see how numbers are on a different day. I mean, already it's like the viewership looks like it's up right now. So we hope you guys don't mind that. Don't worry. We'll be posting and letting you guys know ahead of time on those early shows. I'll try to create a post, like a reminder, like, hey, guys, early show night. I didn't do that tonight because I didn't really know till the very last minute that we were going to do it on a Thursday today. So So please check us out and join us for the early episodes we have coming in the next couple of weeks. And again, I'll do a much better job about posting something up. Double A, maybe you can help me out with that and just be like, hey, this week we're going early. And we'll try to do it like from the week before, like Sunday, but like we'll start posting this week about next week having an early show. So what else, Double A? Anything else good going on?
So Dark Side of the Ring concluded its first half of the new season.
Interesting.
They ended it with one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, Dynamite Kid.
Oh yeah, you lent me that DVD. I've watched that before.
Yeah, very brutal story about the real dude outside of wrestling. Very brutal. In a wheelchair in his 40s, and just a really hard life. But man, this dude. If you can appreciate what he did, this guy, all the stuff you see now, this guy was doing back in the 80s, all the flips, all the kicks, everything. This guy was just destroying his body for wrestling. So
good stuff. Very cool. Good stuff. And the episode was good?
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Awesome. Foxy Rock says he's on P90X. If you remember the workout video as a guest, and yep.
Wow.
I never did P90X. I actually did. I'm old enough to have done P90 on VHS.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Wow.
Yeah. Let says happy early Father's Day, guys. Thank you so much, Let. That means especially a lot to me. I mean, I'm sure it means a lot to every dad, but as many of you guys know, I am not a dad in the traditional sense, but I'm a dad in a very non-traditional sense, and so that does mean a lot when I hear those words, particularly. Let's says my sissy's birthday is on the 15th. Happy early birthday to your sister. We won't want to say
big early birthday.
Yeah, we don't want to say too much because we know that some people don't want their information out in the world. But yes, happy early birthday to her. But yeah, guys, I think we're pretty much fastly approaching that first half hour break, and then we're going to get right into talk about what our episode is about. And then let's just break is on the 8th. Happy early birthday. Also, Cheech. Happy early birthday, sir. So guys, who else got off tomorrow? Did anybody else find out? Let us know. And then here we go. And the American on the 22nd. Happy early birthday to the American.
After week after week.
The Julys. Mm-hmm. And we know you are not till later in the year, like myself. So but yeah, guys, there have been some announcements, obviously Obi-Wan and Anakin, Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen going to come to town at Six Flags as part of Celebrity Fan Fest. Super exciting. We're hoping that the creators of Celebrity Fan Fest will reach out to us and have us in a booth next to them. That would be great for me and Double A to be sitting next to Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan and be there. And for me, I'm super jacked up and excited that they're getting the Superman and Lois from the Superman and Lois show on the CW. Yeah. They're both going to be there. I really think I am going to buy that dual photo out for them because their price is really good, Double A. So it's not nearly Star Wars priced. So yeah, I'm excited. I want to go there. And they're here on a Monday and Tuesday, which is weird. I imagine it'll be less busy.
Tuesday.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that it will be less busy, and I'll get to go out there. Maybe the park itself will probably be less busy. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's coming, guys, at the end of July, beginning of August. Also, Charlie Cox is coming from Daredevil. He may be in one of the new Spider-Man movies. We don't know.
Man, I'm hoping he's.
I'm really hoping so too.
That'd be so fucking cool.
Yeah. Yeah, did you guys enjoy our episode last week with Lucky and Joe from the Now Watch This podcast? Those guys were so much fun to have in the house. Such a great team, and so great having them in and being part of the show with us. It was just a lot of fun. It was a lot of a fun conversation. Great talking to those guys. They're doing a great show. If you guys don't know, this week they didn't have a chance to record, so they ran our episodes audio that we did with them on their network, on their podcast, and their podcast is part of a network, so hopefully that helped us reach a little bit of a bigger audience as well. Also, guys, if you saw, Joe has his own excuse me, not Joe. Lucky has his own t-shirt shop called 3leggedrabbit.com, which has our shirts on there, guys. And they just released the tank tops. You can get them in red, white, and blue, different color logos. You can get them, for the 4th of July. Summer is here, guys. You got to get those summer shirts going. And all kinds of other great t-shirts. Everyone always wants black. The black t-shirt is there at 3leggedrabbit.com. But guys, we're right up at the first 30-minute block and the break. So I'm going to take us to a quick break. If you're joining us on Facebook Live, I'll read through the rest of your comments. And I'm not going to go anywhere. We're going to be here sitting and chatting with you about that stuff. But after the break, we're going to come back. We're going to get right into the episode for you guys tonight, the pre-Father's Day episode. All right, guys, we took that first break. Let's get to some more comments. Guys, I want you guys, all of you guys, to go out to 3leggedrabbit.com and buy yourself one shirt. Now, you guys know that when I sell you the shirt out of my backpack, it's a $20 t-shirt. So I say you guys that there's a lot of other stuff that goes into it. So that shirt is $20. And if it goes up past a 2X, I got to charge you $25. But if you go to 3leggedrabbit.com, you got to pay shipping, but you get a little bit better. You pay shipping, but you get a break on the price. So I think our regular plain t-shirts with one logo on there is only, I believe, $15. So yes, you'll get shipping on that. So it'll probably come up to 20, but everyone always asks me for black. Do I have black with the white logo, black with the red logo? I don't have those, and I won't ever have those. You got to go to 3leggedrabbit.com to get those. In addition to that, we have about 3 different looking logos. We actually have the 2 logos that are available on 3leggedrabbit.com. You really only get them, you're mainly going to find them there. That's where you're going to find that logo. And then the other logo we have is kind of a combination of those 2 logos. Those are the ones I usually sell you out of my backpack. And I'm working on something really neat and really exciting for the Friday Night Faithful, a shirt that's kind of dedicated to the Friday Night Faithful and to let people know that you are a Friday Nighter. So when I get that merchandise in, from what I've seen so far, it looks super sweet. That's going to come from Deuces Mercado. And I'm going to let you guys know. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but I want you guys to see it. And when I see it, we're going to throw their name up there too. But in the meantime,
it's pretty sweet. It's pretty damn sweet.
Yeah, and the only place you can get tank tops right now, guys, is at 3leggedrabbit.com, and that's also where you can get a hat and a beanie, I believe, there. And we had hoodies on there for a while, but Luck might have taken them off. I need to get the hoodies.
Summer season. So.
Yeah, it's gonna be hot for a while. That's why I'm glad we have the tank tops up there. And he can do other stuff too. So if we get any requests for, like, I've seen for other podcasts, he has flip-flops, bikinis. So if you guys want us to do something like that, let me know, and I will let Lucky know to throw this up on 3leggedrabbit.com too. But for right now, you can definitely get tees, varying different colors, black, white, red, and you can get different logo colors. You got to go to a different tab to get each one. But everyone always wants the white logo on the black shirt. It is hard to find. I just ordered myself one, and I ordered myself a red tank with the black logo because I'm going to rock that on the beach, NWO Wolfpack style. So, you know what I mean? I'll be putting that up. Give me the wolf. Oh, I'm going to rock that out on the beach when I'm out of town. But let's read a little bit of comments, AA, while our audio is loading. Tell me adrenalize me some more with these comments.
Rich says, yes, happy early Father's Day to all. To y'all and everyone watching, and happy early birthdays too. Cheers and God bless.
Thank you so much, Rich. We really appreciate that, man.
Joe says, get a now watch this shirt.
You know what, Joe? Plug your shirts on your show. Plug my shirts on my show.
Yeah.
You know, these guys steal our audio. They steal our show. They steal the show when they come on here. You know what I mean? Rich says, nice. I would like to get a hat. Great. They have different styles too, I believe, Rich. They have trucker and all that. Hey, man, and I'm so sorry about the bottle opener. I have it set aside. I'm going to mail it to you. I'll put a little bit of extra stuff in there for you, man, because you waited so long, so patient. I'm very sorry. But Richard was one of the guys that wanted a bottle opener out of our NBA episode. You had so many great comments and interesting insights. I'm barely catching up on our own show. I'd like to just hear it back for any, audio deficiencies. And I've just been so behind in listening to other podcasts and watching stuff for this podcast. We've got to, whenever we do a topic, it's like I've kind of got to verse myself in it and remember it. And, it's just been nuts. In fact, us catching up with Mario, it took a little while because we were behind on meeting up with them, so, but between the cons and the families and all that stuff, it's been a wild one.
He's going to fix you up, so don't worry.
Joe says JAF and Speedo. I'm there for it.
The JAFN on the ass?
Yeah, I can go for that.
With the symbol on our penis?
Or just a straight up mankini all the way. Just cover my nips there. Yeah. So, And Rich, thank you, Rich, for being so very patient.
We'll take care of you.
I'm going to take care of you, brother.
Yeah, we'll take care of you.
It's going to be good. So thank you for being patient.
Luckily, right now, we don't need bottle openers.
That's right. Yeah, right now, no need for the bottle openers. So that audio loaded really quick. So let's get right back into it, guys, and then we're going to keep this moving along because Double A does have to work tomorrow, even though he says he doesn't care.
No,
so
don't worry about it.
But I'm going to put us back into the audio just because I don't want to miss talking with any of you guys. And you know what? Because Double A says it, I ain't going to rush it. So, guys, thanks for hanging out during that quick break. If you're listening to us on audio, you heard my little commercial there. But, if you're joining us live, we normally go live every Friday night. However, we just let everybody know that we're going to be
We're sorry to let you down. It's not Friday.
It's not Friday. It is Thursday, so don't get confused. Make sure you go to work tomorrow if you have to work, if you're not off for Juneteenth.
Yeah, man. That's awesome. What a great surprise. What a great, just making that official holiday. That's
very neat. And
now they just need to make a Super Bowl Monday a holiday.
Yeah, Super Bowl Monday.
Get
Halloween.
going on that.
I'm voting for Halloween or whatever, but obviously we're joking. We don't want to take away from the importance of Juneteenth. Again, we have an entire episode all about it. Please go listen to it.
No, we respect that day and everything.
Yeah,
so
totally. And we're not fighting for Cinco de Mayo as Latinos. We're good. Mexican Independence Day, maybe, because that comes between my birthday and my sister's. But Rich says we need another sports episode. Man, we are in talks about it.
Yes, we are, and I'm like drooling. I'm drooling over here.
He has some really interesting stuff that he wants me to watch, and then I also am eager to do that, man. And definitely, Rich, man, I heard that episode, that whopper 4 hours that the guys wanted to go longer. I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot. Listening to it, it took me like 4 or 5 days to hear the whole thing. I was like, holy shit, this was a beast. Anybody that heard that whole episode, which was you, Rich, you were there to the very end, and Joe, it was really fantastic. So, but you mentioned something earlier, and I want to mention this too. We want to both say, I think, but happy early Father's Day to all the dads.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to. I mean, we'll post something, but to all you dads out there are listening right now, everyone, just happy Father's Day.
Yeah, Double A, happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you.
And I want to say happy Father's Day to my dad out there, and to my girlfriend's dad, happy Father's Day, and to her brother Ruben, and her other brother Anthony. Happy Father's Day, gentlemen. And I want to say happy Father's Day to Joe, to Lucky, to Aaron B, to Steve, to Mario, the dads that I know that are out there. Did I say Joe? Or I said you, Joe, right? Yeah. So all you guys that are dads out there, and all of you, there's too many of you, but these are the ones that I know that are always kind of here riding with us. Happy Father's Day to you, gentlemen. Have a great one. I hope you get to drink some cold ones or whatever you like to drink. Put your feet up, maybe eat some barbecue. Yeah. That would be badass. You know what I mean? So, is that it? Double A on comments.
Yes, it is.
All right,
start getting into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. So this topic came to me by way of Double A. He said we went through a couple of things that we were going to talk about, right? Yeah. We said maybe we're going to talk about this, maybe we're going to talk about that, but we weren't really sure. And then you hit me with, you hit me with 3 movies, and I was like, the way we talk 3 movies, I was like, we'll be here, till after midnight. So, and I loved all 3 movies. I did, but one of them stuck out because the other 2 are part of they're kind of part of a bigger family, but they're 2-part series. I won't reveal that because maybe we'll do that. I would love to talk about those 2 movies in particular as part of that entire series.
Same here. Yeah.
But the one that stood out, and again, if you read the intro, you already know, you know what I mean? We're going to talk about part of This Man series, who we just saw that Kevin Smith, who is live tonight on his podcast. We hope you're watching us and not him, only because we need it more. So, but apparently Raiders of the Lost Ark's 40th anniversary is coming.
Yeah, it's 40 years for Raiders. I mean, golly, that's nuts.
That is crazy, man, to think about that.
It is. But there's one movie that we particularly pointed out because it just deals with fathers. And, the bad father, good father, whatever you want to say.
For sure.
We're talking about Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade with Sean Connery. It's Henry Jones Sr.
When I don't know if these are 2 A-listers, 2 mega stars.
Man, you're talking about James Bond and Indiana Jones.
Did they do anything else together?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
This also, guys, I think is the first Steven Spielberg movie that we've ever covered as a podcast duo, and we love Spielberg.
Yeah,
I mean,
fans. He's almost like the king of summer.
Yeah,
we can even say that too. He's every new release that he ever had was always during the summertime.
They say that Jaws set the precedent for what a summer blockbuster was. It created that. So the man's an innovator as well.
Yeah.
We love Spielberg. I don't know why we've not done an episode about his films, or maybe his body of work is too vast.
We got a series. We're trying to do a series of directors, and he is definitely going to be on. We have a long list. Me and CM are what do you call them? Cinephiles?
Yeah.
I mean, me and CM just love movies, and we love certain directors. So we're trying to do kind of like a series of episodes where we're going to be talking about our directors, and Spielberg definitely is going to be on that list.
I prefer film buff because I'm so buff.
That too. I don't like the word file anyway. So.
Yeah. Too easily you could strap pedo on the front.
Me and him are film buffs. Okay. So.
Mainly because of the buffness. You know what I mean? So, but so I want to tell you right now, so guys, we don't make a lot of money off of this. We mainly contribute ourselves to our own podcast. And then we have the great Aaron B that contributes a little bit to the podcast. And then from the little commercial that we hear on the audio version, we make like a few pennies. So it's very little money. So anything we make is off the merch usually. And then that goes right back into the show. Mm-hmm. So I accidentally used our podcast credit card for food the other day. And I didn't realize it. I was like, oh shit, wrong account. So I owed our podcast money from my own account. But then I wanted to watch this and I own it. We're looking at my copies here, right? I'm like, I own this. I don't have to buy it or anything like that. Only to realize that I wasn't going to have time to watch it. And I normally watch movies that we're going to do for the show at lunch. So I had to buy the digital copy. I bought it for $10. So I told Double A, I'm taking that out of the podcast money. I'm going to just pay the $10. So now I own a digital copy, but I can easily give you access. We could both have it digitally anytime. So I was like, you, the Friday Night Faithful paid for me to watch, the copy. Like we said, when Lucky and Joe were on, Lucky had to buy No Holds Barred, like a real copy.
Yes, that was crazy. I was like, damn, Joe.
Yeah, I don't know what he paid for that, but I mean, I need to go look it up. But either way, so now I have it on DVD. This isn't Blu-ray, and on a digital copy.
I have a series too, but it's only the first three, and just regular. I
own a Crystal Skull on its own. I bought it on its own because it came with a little when it first came out with a little thing. And
nice. I don't remember that at all because I didn't go after it.
Yeah, we won't talk too much about Crystal Skull, but.
No, and we're not going to really talk about the other ones too much. We're really, because this is, we talked about Father's Day movies, kind of like what would Dad do on a Sunday? Say sport, there's no sports, and you just kind of want to kick back. You want to watch a good Father's Day movie. We've talked, parenthood. We've talked, this and that. But I was like, man, Indiana Jones is a really good blend of drama with action, with adventure, and then it has Harrison Ford and Sean Connery. I mean, it's James Bond and Indy, it's Sean Connery, Harrison Ford. Man, what a duo that these guys made.
Being directed by Steven Spielberg.
With the story developed by George Lucas and Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, I mean, arguably the two of the greatest of all time to ever
These Summer Kings, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the two Summer Kings.
Definitely, man. It's what makes Indiana Jones to me so great is that I think that these two guys like each other a lot, and they couldn't wait to work together on something like this. Don't forget, guys, Lucas wanted Spielberg to direct Star Wars, which in some multiverse, there is a version of Star Wars directed by Spielberg that I'm sure is even more amazing than Star Wars already is. You know what I mean? So there's that. Double A, of the Father's Day movies that you could have chosen from, and if you guys go back in our catalog, you can see our episode "Father of Mine,"
where we talked about TV dads and
movie
dads too, and certain comic book dads, the deadbeat dads.
We talked about the good dads and the bad dads.
I say Darth Vader is a shitty father. I think CM tried defending him.
I tried to defend him a little bit. It was a lost cause with Double A. But see, I also said that Al Bundy was a good dad.
And I was like, no.
Double A said no. Al Bundy is a shitty
He's
dad.
A terrible dad.
We agreed on the good, but on the bad, we were like, you guys know me. I'm always willing to give a little bit of, I'm letting someone redeem themselves. So, Yeah, go back and listen to that great episode called Father of Mine, where we talk
Father
about
of Mine.
TV that because we also thought we were going to have Lucky and Joe on for a Father's Day episode.
Yes.
So I listened to our old episode to make sure I wasn't going to rehash old stuff. And it's a good, I mean, not to toot our own horn, but it's a good episode. Yeah, there you go. But Double A, so like I said, you could have thrown anything at me, but you threw this one at me or whatever.
Because like I said, it's a really good blend. It's by two of our favorite creators, Steven Spielberg, George Lucas. We both love Harrison Ford. We're huge Harrison Ford fans, and it's a good action movie. It's what a movie that Dad wants to see. We don't want to see Hallmark movies. We want to see shit get blown up.
Yeah,
we want to see the bad guys lose, the good guy win.
Yeah, you don't even necessarily. Yeah, you want to see. I was really watching through it. I was like, what made Indiana Jones such a badass, the character, is that I was like, the motherfucker had a hell of a right cross. His right cross
loud, right?
carried, his right cross carried him through a lot of situations where I was like, you know what? Even when there's parts where Sean Connery's looking at him, I was like, damn, he developed that at some point, maybe in the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles,
probably.
And it was probably. Okay, you know what I mean? Like I was like, there was a lot of he could have been just this kind of like clutching his bag doctor,
and you kind of get a sense of it in the beginning and kind of throughout the movie that he kind of was on his own.
Yes,
a lot of times, and that's where it's kind of like it's weird. The movie, it's a really good Father's Day movie, but then it's kind of like what a lot of people go through with their dads. Kind of sometimes where the dads can be distant. Even though they're in the they live in the same home. Everything is just they're separated, which he mentions a few times in the movie. Yeah,
it's definitely a theme, and it comes up.
Yeah,
and in the very beginning, who would we have playing the young Indiana Jones?
River Phoenix, man, the rising star at that time.
Rest in peace, man. Yeah,
no pun intended.
Yeah, no kidding.
But man, great stuff. I don't know what he did to prepare. I mean, he gets Harrison Ford down perfect with the mannerisms, the accidents that happen,
and then the screams, and
stuff. So we find out, in this movie, kind of gives a little origin story of Indy was that he was a Boy Scout, and they're doing something. They're like on a trip, something. I don't know
they're
what.
Exploring some mountains or something like that. Yeah.
Well, Indy, he's naturally more curious. He hears some noises and he sees these guys who it looks like we don't know they're archaeologists yet. They just look like they're kind of like grave diggers.
Yeah,
maybe,
they look like crooks.
Crooks. Yes. And he recognizes the artifact that they have in their hand. He's already well versed. So obviously he's pretty damn smart for being maybe 15, 16, maybe. He's like, that's the cross of Coronado, and he was like, he really has his sense. Like he was like, those guys shouldn't have it. It should be in the damn museum,
that's right.
And he starts off with an adventure there. He steals the cross from them. And it's a big old chase, man.
And what do we notice about the ringleader of that group?
He has a certain look about it.
Very particular.
He kind of has like a leather jacket and a hat, and you're just like
the dungaree pants, and I was like, oh, who's that guy? So great opening chase scene.
A great scene, and it kind of fools you because I remember I was like, oh, there's no cars yet, because he's riding a horse. They're all riding a horse until you see them chasing after him in a car, and you're like, oh shit, and it leads from that chasing. It leads great to like this train scene, and the circus. It's like a circus train. They're transporting all these circus animals, and he's dodging them, he's ducking them, and. You find out about the origin of the scar, where he got the scar, and you find out about his origin of the snakes, even though in the beginning he's like, some guy, his friend is like, oh, it's a snake. And he's like, oh, and he's like, what? It's just a snake.
Yeah, it's just a snake. He's not scared. And you're like, what the hell?
But then he freaks out when he lands in the boxer snake.
And then he sees that big boa, like, what the hell? So
it's a great scene. Like it's just like action,
right? Like right from the get go. I forgot how fast it moved. I was like, oh shit, this is. And he gets to his dad's house, and we don't see his dad at that.
You don't
moment.
See him, but you kind of already can tell the kind of relationship they have. He's like super excited. He's like, Dad, I got to tell you something. I have the, this artifact here, and he's like, he's not having. He's like,
quiet.
Say, quiet and say the alphabet and Greek, and
the Greek
And
alphabet.
he's like, he's like, shit, I can't even tell him, what I just found.
Yeah. And in the meantime, he had told the friend, like, go get the sheriff or whatever.
Go get the sheriff.
That kid was so like dumb. He like shows up like with the trumpet and he's blowing the trumpet. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you, an idiot? You know what I mean? So, which he kind of was. He's talking all loud earlier in the scene when like they're like watching the guys grave rob or whatever you think that they're doing, and he's like shut up, like shh, they can hear you, you know what I mean? So the sheriff walks in and he's like, oh, I'm glad that you still have the artifact, because
he's like, there's these 5 guys, they're stealing some property. He's like, yeah, well, the property owner won't press charges if you give him back his property, you know. And that's when you kind of find out it's this rich guy. He hired these diggers to go do an archaeological dig, and go ahead, tell him what happens when he meets the boss again.
So, another cool part that happens right then is that the lead guy, the guy that's kind of dressed like what we see, Indiana Jones dressed like, he tells him, you got a lot of heart, kid, you know what I mean? And he goes,
you lost today, kid.
Yeah, you lost.
It doesn't mean you have to like it,
right?
And he takes off the hat, and
it's the brown fedora. And the great shot Spielberg does is that when he looks up,
it kind of covers like River Phoenix. And then when he looks up, it's Harrison Ford.
He's in the rain, and it's and the origin of the scar thing is cool too, because when he's in the circus car, he runs into a lion and he grabs the bullwhip
which the music comes out too,
right. That iconic John Williams, you know what I mean? And we all know the Indiana Jones theme, dun, 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 dun. And his first time cracking that would be Wax himself, and which who the fuck knows how to use one of those? Put your damn eye out.
Honestly, I really had never noticed the scar before. I guess I never really paid attention to his face. So like when they said they put that in there, because I guess people had been asking where he got the scar from.
Interesting. I don't think I knew either. So
I
mentioned it right
never paid attention to Harrison Ford's scar, which is real. It's a real scar.
But what's funny, Double A too, like all the times, more Harrison Ford or whatever, all the times I've seen Star Wars, I never noticed the damn dice in the Millennium Falcon. It took me to see it in
Solo.
And I was like, wow.
Not even that, but Last Jedi 2, right? Because that's where he gives the dice to Leia.
Right. And I was always like, man, am I fucking late?
I know. I was like, wow.
I was like geeking about the medal thing, because that was always like, Chewie finally got his medal. You know what I mean? But so then, like
small
we said,
details,
little stuff. Hey, when you see it a lot, you think it doesn't matter. No matter how much you've seen Star Wars, you've never seen it all the way. But anyway, we get Harrison Ford on this boat in the rain, and he's chasing the cross. And
from the same guy.
Yeah, he's older. This man in a white suit. And is that a callback to the other ones? Is that guy a former?
No, it's the same guy.
No, I know, but is that guy in other movies?
No,
okay.
No.
I thought he was like a former foe or something. I felt like the white suit was familiar.
No.
But anywho, so he does get the cross.
He's still like, it's still eating him alive that this guy still has the damn cross, and it's like even after decades of probably not seeing each other, and he knows who he is too. He's like, this is the second time I've had to reclaim my property from Dr. Jones,
and he tells him it belongs in the museum.
Yeah, the same shit that he said when he was younger.
And he also says, how long I've been chasing this? And he says, your whole life. And so it's like he knows, so it's pretty cool.
But that's weird, right? That it's still haunting him, right?
Yeah.
He's stealing it though. It does belong to that guy, and it's like, golly.
But it sticks in your craw, right? You're like, fuck that, man. You know what I mean? Like,
but he should know. He's an archaeologist too. He probably keeps shit that doesn't belong to him, which mentioned in Temple of Doom. Remember, is like, I forgot they said like the punishment next time he comes to his country, they're gonna cut his dick off or something. Next time he came in because he was like stealing shit or something like that. I was like, golly.
Yeah. So it quickly goes from that scene.
Yeah. So there's like a big, they're like in a storm, and like all these explosions go off, and he ends up getting the cross, and it looks like that guy dies.
Yeah, because the ship like blows up, I think, or whatever.
Yeah,
there's like a leak or something like
that. Yeah, and so I was like, damn, that was kind of brutal. Kind of like opening.
I think it's like one of those oil lamps falls, and it kind of just
destroys it. And you just see the guy's hat kind of like floating. And I was like, damn, So
yeah, you see that. So
that was kind of brutal. Like I said, dark. Right away.
Definitely. And then you have the classic kind of like cutscene back after the opening, the action. You have him back at school, teaching.
He's a professor.
He's a professor. That is like the one cool line from Crystal Skull is like part-time. And he tells Shia LaBeouf. But that's in the trailer. When I was watching this one, that's in the trailer. They show Crystal Skull's trailer. But anywho, so he's there, and then he gives the artifact, the cross, over to that guy's always his guy, Marcus
Brody.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so he gives it to him, and then he gets told that he's big. Well, number one, he tells the class he's going to be in his office.
Yeah, and if they need help with like assignments or something, you come see him. Well, everyone's there.
Yeah,
I don't know what the fuck kind of test he was running.
Well, not even that, but you hear what some of them were saying. They're like, these papers haven't been graded in weeks, and we haven't got our grades and stuff. Like he's like busy out adventuring, so he's not fucking doing his professor duties.
So he hides out and he tries sneaking out, and some guys catch him.
Yeah.
And you're thinking like it's kind of like ominous music, and these guys are pretty much kind of forcing him to go in the car. And then that next scene, he's like in this beautiful, fancy ass place.
Yeah. And pretty much there's a guy there, a rich guy, and he's like, yeah, man, like we came across this stone, and
which he knows. He's like, yeah, supposedly this guy is donated to like the museum that I guess Indy donates to or works there or whatever, and he's like, yeah, Mr. Donovan, I know you are.
Yeah, he knows who you are.
And he's like, man, you got some really great pieces in here, in his house.
Yeah, and so he wants to talk about, well, he shows him this piece, which he's like, oh, that's from this century, and it's,
it's stuff that you're just like, you heard from the King Arthur myths, the legends, none of it's supposed to be real,
right?
That's kind of like the cool thing that Lucas and Spielberg do. They kind of bring these kind of like myths back, these really exciting myths. And he pretty much tells them that, you know what, we found some evidence that the Holy Grail may be real, the cup that Jesus Christ drank from.
Right, at the Last Supper, but also that caught his blood when he was crucified on the cross.
And if anyone drinks from this cup, you get immortality.
Supposedly.
And so his father, he tells him that, our guy's been missing, our foreman, our guy, our lead guy that, blah, 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 he's missing. And, it's like, you need to get my dad. I'm good at this. Well, this is not really my realm. Right. He's the medieval literature professor, the one that everyone hates, but he's the Grail guy.
Yeah.
In the circles of archaeologists, of historians, of professions, his dad is the guy on the Grail legends. So he's like, yeah, we did. He's the one that's missing.
He's the one that's missing.
And so this is kind of like wild. You're just like, wow, it's kind of like the first time you're hearing about his dad.
Yeah.
You just assume in the first two movies that he's probably long past, and you find out that he's a medieval teacher, and he's still alive, and he's missing. He actually went on a hunt himself, and you're just like, holy shit, So now it's like, okay, now he's got to chase his dad. He's got to find his dad. Now he's going after this really incredible legend that you thought was just legend, and it's real. The cup is real, and it's like, wow.
It's like a twofold where it's like kind of in a sense, I got to go rescue my dad from whoever got him, but also, and I think that's his main kind of goal. He's not really like, I'm after the Grail, but he's kind of got to follow his dad's footsteps. Like, what were
it's exciting too to even think as an archaeologist, you're just like, holy shit.
Oh yeah.
You just found out something from the Bible is true,
right?
And that it could grant immortality, which he's not really interested in the immortality. It's just the cup itself, the cup of Jesus Christ. You're just like,
which, wow, in the timeline of Indiana Jones, and again, we're not going to talk too much about the other movies, but this is in 1938. They're looking for the Last Crusade takes place, but Raiders of the Lost Ark is 1936, which is when he finds the Ark of the Covenant. You know what I mean? Which, arguably the two most famous,
Bible
artifacts ever. If they were, to be proven to be real, it's like, to someone to have those. I mean, that would be fucking
the
incredible.
10 Commandments and the cup of Christ, it's kind of like, wow.
Yeah. I mean, besides things that we've heard about, like, the Spear of Destiny, the Shroud of Turin, whatever.
And it has been proven, too, that Hitler really did have a real fascination with these objects. He did, for real.
Yeah.
And the coat, everything.
Yeah, coat. He was big into that.
He was big into all these, that if he had all these, weapons in his arsenal, that he'd be for sure the ruler of the world.
Right.
So, I mean, it's kind of like another race, too, in a way.
Stopping that. I laugh because, obviously the scene later on, whatever, it's a pretty funny ass scene. I had forgot about that scene altogether.
Yeah.
But, he, of course, in classic Indiana Jones fashion, he meets a beautiful woman right away. She's the one that's,
that was working with his dad really closely. They're like, she's smart too. She's a doctor herself. She's well versed into all the myths, everything.
Yeah,
So
and she's super beautiful. Like
she's super
blonde
beautiful.
and blue eyes, and it's like, all right, you know what I mean? Like, he starts right away to like hit
Flirting
on her.
bad.
Yeah, flirting bad.
Real bad.
Tries to pick her a flower.
He even steals a flower from her. He's like, here you go.
And what is Marcus like? Come on,
can we get on with it? Because we are trying to find your dad.
Yeah,
and you're over here flirting.
Right away when they get to the library, he goes, "This is a library. It looks like a church or whatever." And she's like, "Well, it was a church. It was converted." Mm-hmm. So it moves really fast because you're like, he's there like 5 seconds, and he's like, "Well, here's this, here's that."
Yeah, and it shows that his dad was moving along. Like his dad was actually starting to find some stuff. So he's kind of like in the middle of where his dad was, almost. I would say in the hunt,
right?
And they start matching up. He has his dad's Grail book. So that's like his clue book almost. He's following his dad's directions.
And we see early on, it's kind of a callback to earlier in the movie when he's, River Phoenix is the young Indiana Jones. When the dad, he interrupts the dad. Right. He's literally writing in this journal, drawing, Grail legends and Grail
every
lore.
Piece of information he's ever heard, he's writing and drawing it down.
Yeah, he tells the first guy, he tells the guy, Donovan, he's like, Grail lore is my father's hobby. You know what I mean? So imagine something that you've studied since you were your whole life. Yeah. You're interested in it. You know what I mean? And you wrote down everything. He has all of his dad's notes. So come to find out, he figures out a clue within that or whatever, and they go literally underneath the
church, the old church, which is now a library.
Yeah.
And then you find out there's this group that's kind of following India a little bit, and you're just like, oh shit, already somebody already knows about him and somebody's already after him, So they go down and there's this tomb of like the Crusaders, it's just old abandoned tomb.
Yeah, that chick is pretty bold because she's right away like, lower me down, and like she's just like the first thing her feet touch is like skulls and
she's
stuff.
Excited,
yeah, it's like and it's like pretty much this whole underground tomb underneath this library. They go through there, tons of rats. Which was like, I don't know how they filmed that back then, but it's like at one point they're like on her neck and stuff, and I was like, fuck that, And he also says, he's like, we're in a bunch of oil. He's like, this is petroleum or whatever. So
he
makes like, a makeshift torch out of a bone and some rag. And, he just dips it in, and I'm like, wouldn't that shit just like, if that shit falls, you're just gonna.
I know.
Which kind of does happen later when he gets to a particular.
Yeah, tomb. It's like Richard the Lionheart or one of the Richards. The tomb, it's actually like he's just like surprised about the tomb itself. Mm-hmm. Like he's like, holy shit, this is like a king, and then it has like the piece that Donovan had. Right, but it's almost complete. It's like all complete. So he starts getting this like map and kind of like starts tracing over.
It's on his shield paper.
Remember,
it's on the knight's shield, and he's like, oh, this is the same as
it's
the one
the
Donovan
information.
had.
It's pretty much where to go for this Grail. It's a whole direction almost.
Yeah. And he was saying, oh, my dad had figured out most of it, but he didn't have the last piece, which is on this knight's shield. And then later what happens when those guys throw in a torch to literally blow them up, because we find out later they're protectors of the Grail.
Yeah.
And what does he do? He just like this ancient tomb.
So he's already got like what he's got. So he's like, I don't give a shit. He kind of just like flips it over and
and they're kind of he had to protect them. They're hide under there.
Yeah, I know, but it's just funny. It's like you just found this other great discovery.
Yeah, that in itself could have been freaking.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He makes that joke where he's like, "Oh, I should drill a well down here and retire because of petroleum." I'm like, dude, literally all of this shit you're seeing is like probably enough to make you a bazillionaire.
Yeah, because he's like in Venice. They're in Venice, Italy. So.
Yeah, in Venice, Italy. You've been?
No, not to Venice.
Not to Venice. Okay. Your brother's been though, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. I don't know how the layout is over there. It's
just nice. It's real nice. So
very cool. So you're around some ancient shit. Right? Can you imagine?
I was the Tomb of Augustus.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so right there.
Very cool.
I was blown away.
I would imagine that when you're over there, like stuff probably feels like old, and it's like you never know what could be underneath your very feet. You don't know.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's a little, it's a classic adventure movie.
And it makes sense too that it would be in Venice, Italy, where he found those tombs of the Crusaders.
Right.
So it made sense. But again, we're like rolling.
The action isn't stopping. I mean, they're running from these new guys.
Yeah. So now they get out. They make their way out of the tomb, and now it's like a boat chase.
Mm-hmm.
We've already had like a fucking car chase, a train chase. Now we're having a boat chase.
Yeah.
And again, these guys after a while they stop, and
Right.
you know, he's like, okay, what do you want? Why are you trying to kill me? And he's like, well, you know, I'm protecting the Grail from, you know, the bad guys, and you know, I thought that's what you're looking for. And he tells him, no, I'm just here to find my father. You know, I could care less about the fucking Grail.
Yeah.
You know, and he tells him where his dad's at. He's like, yeah, they've took him, and he's in this place.
Yeah.
You know,
which he goes pretty quick, and right away, what do we see? Like, it's the fucking Nazis. You're like, these bastards are back again. Nazis. He looks down and he sees it, and it's like all the flags, which is so funny, right? For like, you know, Spielberg to use them so much. And it's like he's got to drape these rooms out and like, you
Nazi
know,
gear.
That symbol is just so, you know, I hate to say it, but it still does strike fear. I mean,
it does. It really does.
You know, it's just this reminder. And like these rooms are literally draped in the flags, and the guys got it. They look, you know, they look the part. You know what I mean? So, but guys, we're right at our second break. So if you're joining us on Facebook Live right now, we really appreciate you being here with us on the temporary, just another Thursday night. But we're going to take a quick break for the audio listeners, but we're going to stay here with you. And guys, it's so funny. I always say a quick blip, right? But it's like I've been listening back to our old episodes. You hear nothing. You don't even hear like a boop. You don't hear nothing. Maybe I should add that in or whatever. But there's nothing in those spots. So I say that, but nothing happens. But yeah, guys, thanks so much for joining us on our third early. We see some comments rolled in, so I'm gonna have Double A do my reading for me and adrenalize me with those comments. So let's see what we got here.
You need to go down.
Oh, I need to go down. Yeah. So I'm way off. Sorry about that. This is a good one. We'll leave that up for a moment. But am I going the wrong way? Oh, there we go. Oh, it was kind of sticking here. Sorry, I was trying to get to your comments here.
Okay, go.
Where am I at here, guys? Sorry. If you're joining us. There we go. That there too. Let's see here, guys. Sorry about this.
Right there. Right where Steve's at. Right where Steve.
Okay, that's the first one.
Yeah.
Here, so it says. Yeah, man, for sure. The info for the Herculoids, Steve. You definitely you should reach out to him, man. He can send you at least pictures of what we saw yesterday. Was really cool. So also some more fathers. We want to say happy Father's Day to Frank, Joe, and Tommy.
Send them in, guys. If you have people you want to wish Father's Day to.
Father's Day wishes for? Let us know. Yeah. Steve says happy Father's Day to all. Steve, happy Father's Day to you, as we already said. And Rich says
he likes the movies.
Okay, awesome, man. Where are we at? Let me see here.
Right there, right next. We're letting again.
There we go. Oh, that's right.
And for first time.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. First timer. Happy Father's Day. Friday Nighter, Will, the Thrill. Rich says, after seeing the movies, could y'all see anyone else playing Indiana Jones and Sean Connery's role? Interesting question. I mean, Indiana Jones is so tied to Harrison Ford. Yeah, it's really hard for me to imagine it. And then the Last Crusade is like so ingrained in my mind. You know, as that was such a great casting. You know, even though that like Sean Connery's like Scottish. You know what I mean? But he's got the accent. They don't really explain that or anything. You know what I mean? And Indiana Jones is very American.
Yeah, but like I said, he wasn't exactly like raised by him.
Right. That's true too. So yeah, it's almost like he was kind of away. And so an interesting thing that
I don't know, Rich. I don't know. Someone else playing Indy. I know Tom Selleck was the hot guy at the time.
That's right. Yeah. Was he in talks to be?
He was, but they wouldn't let him out of the Magnum PI. It was kind of like with Pierce. They wanted him so bad for Bond in the late 80s, and Remington Steele, producers were like, nope.
And I want what's the famous story? Was it that George Lucas wanted him? He didn't want to use.
They didn't want to use Harrison because he didn't want it like everyone thinking Harrison was like his guy.
Yeah, because he'd already had him in American Graffiti.
The two Star Wars movies, or one. No, one.
At that
one
time,
movie,
probably been one at that time.
So it's like American Graffiti, Star Wars, and he was like, But there is footage of Tom Selleck trying out, auditioning. They said they liked him
for Han or for Indy.
No, for Indy.
Oh, cool.
Indy, yeah.
I'd like to see that.
But nope, this wouldn't let him out of his contract. So
I used to like Magnum PI. I watched that with my dad.
I mean, cool I think they both made out fine.
Yeah, I mean, you get tired of that.
PI, I mean, that's just as known almost as Indy, I would think.
I wonder, does he ever do the con circuit? He should do the con
Tom
circuit.
Selleck?
Yeah, because he was on that other show. It's the Chicago Police Chief. It was pretty popular, I think. Rich, you said, I am not a fan of Mary You're not a fan at all? Or did you mean to say that you are a fan? I think maybe you did that. Maybe not. And then Joe says, it belongs in a museum classic indie. Yeah, totally. Mario says Grave Robbers,
Thank you,
Tomb
Mario.
Raiders.
Thank
there
you.
we go.
Thank you.
I called them crooks. That's not
Thank
good.
you.
That wasn't very good of me. And then Rich
Oh
says,
man, John Williams,
stellar. For the iconic ones he's done, I mean,
I
Star Wars,
wish they would kind of use his newer music from the prequels in the sequels. I kind of was hoping that they were going to use some of those songs.
Yeah,
you know?
The music really does, tie it together or whatever. It makes it feel,
I mean, you know it from
you're
Jaws.
watching,
The Jaws theme, he did it. You know the Star Wars themes. You know the Indiana Jones themes. That's all John Williams.
Right.
I mean,
sorry about the lighting, guys. I feel like I'm in the shadow.
I mean, the guy's a genius at doing big action movies. That guy's
the guy
perfect.
To get,
yes,
and I love Danny Elfman too. Danny Elfman's a great one.
Yeah, but I don't know. There's something about John Williams. I mean, when you hear Star Wars,
Superman.
I
mean,
golly, I forgot about that.
Those are so iconic. Does he do? He doesn't do Jaws, though, right?
Yeah, I think he did.
He did do Jaws. I think he did. See, he's kind of like Spielberg. Spielberg's guy too. So
yeah.
Let's see here. Rich also says. So his dad was an archeologist as well, but Indiana
he
Jones.
wasn't. No, because he does mention like he's like a field guy, but you kind of get the feeling that maybe because you don't know yet. He's out there, and you're just like, oh shit, like is it dad an archaeologist too?
Yeah.
But then he says it like later on. He's like, dad's not a field guy.
Right.
He's that professor that you hate getting in college. He's that medieval prick that just grades you on every fucking thing. You're just like, oh,
he's like the expert in that field of the Holy Grail stuff because he's been the one that's been.
He's just that guy, that historian, that professor that you go to. That Henry, I need to know more about. Maybe the location of this, and he would tell you where it's at.
Yeah. Whereas Indiana is like. He does the teaching part, you know what I mean? Kind of like the supplement between adventures, you know what I mean?
It's funny because like even like in the Raiders, it's kind of like he's like the Ark. You need Ravenwood.
Mm-hmm.
He's like he's the guy for the Ark of the Covenant. So even in that one, he's kind of like, oh, I'm not well versed on
the guy,
on that.
But I feel like people do like him because they're like, oh, he'll go out and get in the mix. You know what I mean? So. I moved a little bit further away so I could kind of be more in the light, but so that means Double A's got to do more reading for me. Let's see here.
They even play into it in Marvel. Hitler's love of First Avenger.
Mm-hmm.
The Red Skull looking for the Tesseract. Because it was believed to be a Norse mythology weapon.
Right. In those movies.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of the Hellboy. Also, they're into it on the Hellboy also.
It's just that mystery. That if you wield something that belongs to God, that you're going to be it. Yeah?
It has its own like aura around it where you're like, oh man.
The King Arthur myths. I mean, it's all there.
Mm-hmm.
Rich says it's crazy how these movies led to movies like Tomb Raider and National Treasure. Oh man, even The Mummy, the way The Mummy with Brendan Fraser feels like Indiana Jones.
And I feel like there were talks at one time.
There was talks.
He should be the next Indiana
There
Jones.
was talks at that time.
There was never, and we all know that there's a part 5 in the works and they're still using Harrison Ford. So I think that maybe if Crystal Skull would have hit, maybe they wanted to pass the baton to Shia, like to continue the adventures. But what's weird is that there's such big gaps in and there was that show, The Young Indiana Jones Chronicles.
Yeah, it was.
Which I think was popular. I think
it lasted like maybe 4 seasons. I mean, it was Lucas. Lucas was very hands-on.
He was an executive producer. And Sean Patrick Flannery played young Indiana Jones. He's a good-looking kid. And I've met him at Super nice Boondock Saints. Yeah, super nice guy. Good in lots of stuff.
I totally forgot about that.
He was Powder also. So I think that show had some.
It did, and it's a cult favorite for a lot of people. So
When I went to the Indiana Jones wiki, it was like people like I guess the fans that create that, they kind of like included it. They're like, this is the time, like, because I wanted to see what years the movies were supposed to have been like taking place in or whatever. So it's like, we all know like and Temple of Doom.
It kind of always says like in the beginning, like almost right in the beginning.
Right.
Like Raiders, it tells you where it's at. And Temple, it tells you where it's at.
Yeah. So Temple of Doom is like 1935,
which is supposed to be the prequel. That's kind of crazy that they're already kind of doing that kind of stuff.
I never knew that for years.
I didn't either. I never paid attention. But it's kind of weird, right? That because movies do that now. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like Fast and Furious. They had like the first 5, and then the first 4, and then you find out like Tokyo Drift was like the future one, right? And then it kind of goes back. I was like, oh
the
shit,
very last one.
Yeah. So,
so that would Temple of Doom was 35. 1935, Raiders of the Lost Ark is supposed to be 1936, and then The Last Crusade is supposed to be 1938, and Crystal Skull is 1957. So,
and then I was saying to my wife, I was like, it's funny because Nazis are here, but World War II hadn't really started,
right?
In these, it's kind of just like the rise of Hitler,
getting them up there,
but the war hasn't started until 38. So I was kind of like, oh, that's funny.
That's interesting how they did that. So let's see what else Rich says.
He goes, I forgot about the mummy.
And then the other one, what's the new one going to come out with Tom Holland, where he's it's based on a video game also. The guy is kind of also a somebody's going to tell me.
I don't know. I don't know about that one.
It's escaping my memory, but somebody's going to get it. But he's playing kind of an adventurer type guy. I always thought of that guy as like the male Laura Croft. But those games are getting made into movies.
Well, even Jumanji kind of. The one with The Rock was kind of more kind of like Indiana Jones is,
So one cool thing I had remember it, man, I need to start digging through those old Wizards that I have.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there was a great one where they did they were talking about because the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen movie was getting ready to come out. Yeah, and who funnily didn't Sean Connery play him when they did the movie. Well, they were saying who would be the American League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh,
because
nice.
all those characters are English.
Yeah, they're English.
So it was funny because the Wizard writers, they went on to say, well, we're not going to use books because Americans don't really read. Americans watch movies. And the leader of the American League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was Indiana Jones. They were like, he'd be the guy that would be leading the team. So I thought that was a really cool, because he's an American character, so it's pretty badass. Let's see what else we got here. I forgot about the mummy. Am I way down? Yeah, Uncharted. Thank you, Rich, for that. I skipped some of your comments, but Uncharted. Right. So this one?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He goes, I think they can do a great show now with it. There's so much material. I mean,
totally. I'd watch it, and you can do a lot more. We did miss this comment though. Double A. He says, I think all the movies Indiana Jones were good. Do y'all agree? People don't like Crystal Skull. I own it, but I haven't revisited it.
What I like about Crystal Skulls because I'm into ancient aliens.
I like that too.
I like that whole theory. I'm in love with that theory. I don't want to believe it because I would like to think that humans really were that smart, were way smarter, and figured out how to build pyramids without the fucking machines that we rely on. But I love that whole ancient alien theories, and I love all that. So I'm fine with Crystal Skulls. I'm fine with it.
What the box set came with was that it comes with the crystal skull, the alien skull and the things. So I thought that was pretty neat. And to me, when I hear that story, there are crystal skulls out there.
There is.
Dan Aykroyd famously, is a big fan of this stuff too, and that's why he named his vodka Crystal Skull. But the people that have encountered the real ones, they say the healing properties and shit like that.
It's
or whatever,
weird. It's really weird.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
So I thought it was neat to kind of tie that into. So we don't know anything about part 5. Let me bring back the audio so we can talk about this. So I think this is good stuff.
And I thought he was fine. I thought Harrison was still spot on as Indy,
It was he hadn't missed a beat, you know what I mean? I think it was maybe they brought back the gal from Raiders,
Mary.
Right?
Mary.
So guys, thanks for if you heard it. I know you don't really hear a bleep. Maybe I'm going to add a bleep in, but we took the quick break for the audio to load, and we're back with you now. We're having a great conversation with the Friday Night Faithful. You, the Friday Nighters, especially Rich, you're asking us questions about what we're talking about tonight, which is Indiana Jones specifically and The Last Crusade. We know that they're making a 5th one right now. We know that Harrison Ford is back. We know that
80 years old, still kicking ass.
Yeah, we know people did not like Crystal Skull, but Double A was just saying how he liked the Ancient Aliens thing.
I liked it. I like how they put in it. I thought that was kind of a natural evolution, for it. Maybe it was too much for people.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't like it when they even come back with the sequel. That they thought the trilogy was good as is.
Right.
So right. I know a lot of people weren't happy just with that period. So
and then I think the Shia LaBeouf thing too.
But he was hot at the time. He was shit hot at that time.
Yeah, he was off of Transformers and
Transformers, Disturbia,
but
Hose.
I think people thought maybe they were going to pass the baton, and they were like, "Not this guy," you know what I mean?
Because and not just that, but it's you get someone like Harrison Ford, 6'2", 6'3", big, confident, rugged looking, handsome. And
that's why Brendan Fraser felt like okay,
and people were talking about Chris Pratt too.
Oh
now
I could see that. I could see that.
But then you look at Shia LaBeouf and you're just like, well, he's shorter, and scrawnier, and he doesn't look like like a guy that you would believe, like you can believe what Harrison Ford taking on all these guys. Like you said, the right punch,
cross.
you know?
Yeah, that right cross beat up a lot of bad guys. And I'm going to read Rich's last comment here because I know we're already out of the comments portion of the show of this part, but I want to read it anyway because he says, Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg are those.
And those games are very good. I'm looking forward to the movie.
Yeah, because I mentioned, Rich said he kind of felt like they reminded Indiana Jones. Well, later they borrowed influence Tomb Raider, and I would say this Uncharted game,
National Treasure, Tomb Raiders, the Mummies, even
got
the
that
Mummies. Vibe.
And just to talk quickly about the Uncharted thing, I know a lot of fans wanted that Nathan Fillion guy from Firefly
because he's like another one,
and people were like Tom Holland, like he's small, you know what I mean? So it's like, but
Tom Holland's got himself like a really good physique. He's really has pumped up a little bit, but I mean,
but he's still little,
he still kind of has that voice,
and the face. He's got a baby face.
Yeah,
the character from what I've seen is like. That Nathan Fillion would have been kind of good because he's kind of a more rugged.
He does, he has that kind of more rugged look.
Yeah. So, anywho, guys, we're talking, Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade. Now we're right at
our Father's Day peak. Father's Day pick as a movie.
And right now we know Indiana's on the way to get his dad. He sees what the fucking Nazis are there, of course, because you almost can't have Indiana Jones without having Nazis. And he's still going to try to rescue his dad. He does. He finds his dad, and that's when we get our
we finally see who it is.
We get our first look. We heard the voice earlier in the movie, but then we see the face there of the man himself. Still looking very good and regal.
Yeah. He was still
gray and bald already.
He was still in his 50s.
Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. He had just did Highlander 3 years prior to that.
Okay.
So.
But
actually, him and Harrison Ford aren't that far apart.
No shit.
They're only like about 10 or 15 years apart.
Oh wow! So to play his dad as a bit of a, I wonder if they grade him up. Well, he was already pretty gray in Highlanders.
Pretty gray, yeah. But he still looked good because I mean,
he grayed and balded quick.
In Hunt for Red October, he still looks super sharp.
Yeah, and he looks good in the scene.
Yeah,
too.
so. But we see Sean Connery, and he looks nothing like James Bond, like CM saying. He's grayer, he's balder. Yeah, he does look like a professor. He's wearing like
he's clutching his bag the whole time, the whole little bit, and he's got the spectacles, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you're Indiana Jones' dad?
Like that doesn't look like Bond at all.
Yeah, I'm like, I thought the guy from the beginning of the movie could have been a better Indiana Jones' dad. But again, it kind of shows you that you're without saying it, he saw this man. Tomb raiding, you know what I mean, earlier with the cross in the movie, and then he gives him the hat. He kind of went that way. He admired that. He admired the jacket, the way he dressed, what he did. Not so much his dad being this well-respected professor, like. Hey.
But you kind of still get a little bit of the relationship when he's like, he after he hits him with the vase and breaks it on his head. Yeah. He's like Junior, and he stands up quick. Did you notice that? He's like, yes, sir.
Yeah, and he calls him that the whole time. He calls him sir a lot.
Yeah, he's like, yes, sir.
He answers
and then you kind of get the feeling again where he's like, oh my God, I'm so happy, that it didn't break or something, or because he's like, oh, I'm okay, Dad. It's like, and he shows him what he was talking about. He's talking about the damn vase.
Yeah,
he's like, it's a fake.
Yeah,
and you can see Indy like, oh, shit. Well, he's not even asking me. Yeah,
right.
He just bashed me over the damn head. And he's more worried about seeing if this vase was real or not.
Right.
So you kind of get already 2 hints of he still respects the man because he gets up real quick, but then he's like, well, you can see he's still kind of like disconnected from like the feelings part.
Right. He's focused on like, in a sense, you're seeing work came first.
Work always.
So they quickly get walked in on by the Nazis
because they hear all the commotion. They hear the damn window breaking, and then they hear the vase breaking. So
and he's he throws the fake. Remember?
Yeah, and he's like,
no. Hey, be quiet! Like what the fuck? But again, his dad's not used to being out in the field, so it's like
nothing to him. It's like us. We're like, whatever. Ha ha.
Exactly. And so of course that brings the Nazis in, and then they're there under kind of duress again. And I think Indiana punches a couple of guys with that big right cross. It's like, boo.
Well, at first they point the guns and he's like, we're looking for the diary.
That's right.
And he's like,
this is a great part.
And you're kind of like, whoa, what the fuck? How'd they find out about the diary? And well, because obviously, the dad had it, and he's like, what book? And you find out that he hid the book. He already found out he was kind of secret. The dad, Henry, kind of figured out that he was doing Nazi work. And so he tried sending the Grail diary back home to America to keep it out of Nazi hands. Well, he gets really mad when Indy brings it back.
Yeah, when he
brings
says
it back with it.
He makes that comment where he's like, "You think my son would be so stupid as to bring the thing you're looking for here?"
And Harrison Ford makes these great.
Yeah, he's got these great, like, it's like telling a big story without saying anything. And then he's like, "You didn't bring it back," and they're like starting to kind of like bicker in front of the fucking Nazis with guns on.
I think he insulted Dad. He's like, "I should have known it to the Marx Brothers." And he's like, "What are you taking easy?"
Yeah,
like, he gets like really mad.
They start busting balls on each other, which again is starts to show their father-son relationship.
It's not exactly
the best, right?
Whatsoever. I mean, he insulted him hard. That's a hard. I should have melded to the Marx Brothers. Like, God, yeah. I was like, man, like he pretty much just caught this guy an idiot.
Yeah, well, yeah,
worse than the Marx Brothers.
The insult is deeper. You know what I mean? It's like, motherfucker. But he defends himself. He doesn't back down totally from his dad.
Indy kind of uses that kind of like scuffle to kind of like use it as a distraction, and he gets the upper hand on the Nazis.
And then they burst into another room, right? And he's got the gun this time, but this time one of the lead Nazis has the hot blonde who had gone with him to get the dad.
The main Nazi guy, and his name escapes me. If anyone's listening, what is the main Nazi guy from Last Crusade?
The blonde one. It's probably on here somewhere. But anywho, he's got the gun to the blonde's head, and he's like,
and she's like, "Indy, please, give him the diary."
And right away, the dad's like, "Don't listen to her. She's one of them." And then he's like,
"What?"
Yeah, and he's not listening to his dad. His dad's like, "Don't listen to her. Let him shoot her." He's like, "Shoot her. Go ahead, like, kill her or whatever."
Yeah,
he's like,
"Go ahead."
And he's like, "No." You know what I mean? Oh, because we failed to mention earlier in the movie, Indiana.
They slept with each other.
Yeah, he gets there once they escape the Venice people or whatever, and he gets to hook up finally, and so he has his hookup moment with her or whatever, and so he's probably feeling some kind of way.
They're really starting to connect after all that. They went together, and everything.
So here he finds his dad, and his dad's telling him otherwise, like, "Oh, she's kill her, blah blah. She's one of them," and he's like, "What? Like, no, you don't. What do you know what you're talking about?" Which his dad was right. We find out.
Yeah, because he throws his gun, and he throws Elsa to her, which she gets the book, the diary.
She grabs the diary.
He's like, and you're just like, oh, fuck.
And the dad's pretty much like, oh, fucking, like, again, like another idiot move from you.
So that scene kind of cuts to them like being tied up, and I was cracking up at this part, and he's like, "How did you know she was a Nazi?" And he's like, "What? How did you know she was a Nazi?" "Oh, she talks in her sleep."
Yeah.
And he's like, "What the fuck?" and he looks at Connery, and Connery makes these great faces too, like,
yeah. She comes in the room later, and she tells him what she's like. It was amazing, you know what I mean? And then he's like, "Oh, thank you."
Like.
But she's talking to Indiana, so I'm like, "Hear this fucking Nazi."
And even Indy looks back after he answers. Remember, Indy kind of looks back like, "What the hell?"
It's so much. They're doing so much with just their gestures and their body language. Sean Connery and Harrison Ford. But yeah, so this chick got the father-son combo right there.
It's like my wife says, "What's the easiest way to get to a man? You send a beautiful woman." Yeah, and that would always do it.
And that's almost a full proof fail right there for the fella. So obviously these guys have similar tastes. Very very Maverick style.
Very Maverick style.
But so they find that out.
Yeah. So now then you get the other surprise, right? Who's backing them up too, right? You get the other surprise on this part too, right?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
He's like, "I didn't trust her. Why did you?" The dad's telling Indy is like, "I didn't trust her. Why did you?"
Yeah.
And you find out, you hear Donovan's voice because he didn't take my advice.
I told you. He tells him earlier, don't trust anyone. And so then they reveal.
So you're like, golly. So Elsa turned out to be a Nazi. Donovan's working for the Nazis. You're just like, golly.
And now they've got the book, so they're off to the races. Meanwhile,
you think. Right. Until Donovan's flipping, he's like, "There's missing pages in this diary. Where are the missing pages?" So Indy had smartly, somehow, some way, he ripped out the pages and gave them to Marcus.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't know where to go.
And I love this part because I was pop laughing when he says, Donovan's like, he'll stick out like a sore thumb. And he's like, and Indiana Jones, like, Harrison Ford delivers it so great.
He does.
He's like, he speaks a dozen languages. He's like, he'll blend in. He's miles from here by now.
He'll blend in. He'll disappear. And he's like, and he got this great shot of Marcus, and he's like, does anyone speak a word of English? He doesn't know where the
just
fuck he's
bumbling
at.
around, whatever country they're in, just like what just literally sticking out like
and
a sore
it's so
thumb.
weird because if you look at Raiders, like Marcus looks like he's top notch, like he's super smart.
Yeah.
Like he even tells Indian Raiders, he's like, I'm very envious of you. If I was a little bit younger, I'd be going after the arc myself.
Yeah,
so I was like, how the hell did he go from like Raiders to like in the third one? He doesn't even know what he's doing. They even make that joke that he got lost in his own museum.
Yeah,
they're just like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's like man, the age be getting you. I'm like, man. So you get that scene, and it's like Indiana does so well. He even convinced his dad because once they leave, you know what I mean. He's like, I thought you said he'd be gone by now.
Yeah,
and he's like, I made all that up. Like,
and that's what he tells me. He's like, he got lost in his own museum.
Yeah,
and you see like Sean Connery, like, oh fuck,
And the bumbling continues because Indiana's like, reach for my lighter. We'll try to burn through the ropes. Well, the instant the lighter gets hot, Sean Connery is like, oh, and he throws the lighter.
He burns himself.
Yeah. And the fucking,
and the tapestry.
Yeah, the tapestry and the carpet start to catch on fire. And it's like burning for a while. And like Indiana Jones isn't doing anything. He's
blowing. He's making it worse.
Yeah. And then his dad's like, the room's on fire or whatever. And he's like, fuck. So he's like, they go to the fireplace and it's a classic fireplace that turns around. So
it's a little hidden room, man.
Yeah. And who's in there behind the wall but the fucking Nazis doing Nazi shit.
So I guess it's like supposed to be like a rich person's home, but it's actually being used as a secret Nazi headquarters.
Yeah. It's one of those classic like floor to ceiling fireplaces, right? Double A.
Yes. Or you can walk into that fireplace and just like walk around. That's how
I've seen huge. Those in like the old like House on Haunted Hill movies or even the Wolfman. They had one like I'm like, fuck, how rich you got to be where your fireplace can stand, 5 people can stand in there.
Yeah.
So they go through that little motion or whatever. They obviously escape the ropes, and he gets a hand free, Indiana, and he tells his dad, "I'm loose," and he gets him loose, and then he's cool because he wedges the Nazis in there.
The Hitler head.
Yeah. And I guess we're left to say they burn up in there, right? Because they're like,
I think they'll be all right. Yeah, somehow I think they'll be.
And if they're not, fuck them. They were Nazis anyway. Fucking assholes. So.
So now you're having like the problem that you haven't really seen in the other 2 movies. Even though he's getting out of this situation, now he has his dad who's a lot older than he is. So he's got to like, come on, Dad.
And like I said, for the first whole part, like literally clutching this bag, like he's not even like
a very non-Sean Connery role.
This is not Mr. Bond.
This is not Ramirez.
No,
fighting Clancy Brown in Highlander.
No, and this is not the crazy Ivan from The Hunt for Red October. Ramius.
You're getting a real life old professor that is, all brains.
I could see him teaching medieval studies or whatever, you know what I mean? But it is cool. He has a little moment, right, when he tells him, we found it, you know what I mean? And he's like, you did, and he names the city, and the dad is like, oh my gosh, like
he starts flipping out.
Of course, because this guy's like kind of life work or whatever.
Just again that all this stuff is real. The stuff that you're just thinking it could be real. Right. You're finding out more and more it is real. Yeah. And you're just like, wow.
And it had to be cool too for Indiana to kind of get like he was the one that did it. The dad studied this, but
when kind of maybe get even like his approval, right? Like, look,
sure.
Dad, I can I can figure this stuff out too.
You know what I mean? Like, like I'm a guy that goes out and hunts the artifacts, but I also do know my stuff.
I know my shit, yeah.
So shit, what happens next? They got to get out of there, right?
They get out of there and they're trying to get on the Hindenburg.
That's right. They're
on not the Hindenburg, the blimp.
Blimp, yeah. It's one of those Nazi blimps or whatever. But so
the Zeppelins. Zeppelins. I'm sorry.
They're on there and
for some reason they think taking off Sean Connery's glasses will hide him away.
Right. And the Nazis come on right away looking for them and
they're wanted. They're like on papers. We're looking for Dr. Jones and Dr. Jones,
And the guy looking is that lead Nazi guy we talked about from earlier or whatever, and he's like literally pushing people's paper down to see their face, and so he'll recognize them because he just saw them earlier. And Indiana's idea is to like, get this ticket guy and take his coat and start asking for tickets or whatever. So sure enough, the Nazi guy, this is a funny part too. I thought he finds
finds him. Yeah, he's like,
and that's when Harrison walks up on him and he's like, again,
Yeah, he's like,
big right
ticket,
cross.
please. And the German's like you fucking
He
kidding me? You're asking me?
him.
Well, at first off, he gives him that look like, really? You're asking me for my fucking ticket?
Right.
You know who I am.
Yeah.
And then when he finally recognizes who he is, oh,
and he throws him out of this window.
He throws him out. Yeah.
And of course, the thing is filled with Germans. They're all looking at him, and then he's like, "No ticket." And then they're all like, "Oh shit!" Like, they gotta get their tickets out. It's like a funny, like little, these movies do that where it's kind of like tongue in cheek.
And it's awesome. Yeah, I love those little moments.
Me too.
Because I think the Marvel movies do that.
Yeah.
I really believe that. Like every time a Marvel movie's like super serious, it'll always put in something like real funny,
right?
Real quick,
right.
So I think that's a hallmark of the Jones movies,
and it just makes it feel so much like kind of like you're watching like, and we are way too young, but like even myself, but like like a Saturday afternoon serial, like at a movie, but it makes it feel like that, like it's like a classic adventure movie. It's not heavy-handed, you know what I mean? It's just it's fun, you know what I mean? It's like a fun, like you said, a summer flick. It's if you're munching popcorn and drinking soda, you're like, okay, what's next?
Movie. It's a perfect movie.
It's great. It's Spielberg. It's greatly paced. And it is what it is. I don't know what young people might think. They might maybe think it's campy or something, but I mean, like, I think it's fun. You know what I mean? Like my sister's almost like, she's like your age. She's like, she just started watching them on her own.
Oh, my kids, I've seen them with me so many times, and they enjoy them too. So I mean, it keeps going down and down.
Another advertisement at the beginning is for the Lego game. They did a Lego game.
That's right.
My nephew loves all those Lego games. We haven't played that one, or I don't know if he knows it's out there or whatever, but I'd love to show it to him. I'm sure he could sit through these and enjoy them. It's like they're paced and they're scripted where it's not like, sometimes even like I would watch Marvel movies with him, and sometimes they can get a little bit wordy, and there'll be like a little bit of a lull in the action. This doesn't feel like that. It's very good pace.
No, and like I said, I enjoyed it as a kid, and then I liked it even better when I got older, when I started like kind of finding out more and more like the Ark, the Grail, all that, the ancient aliens, all that stuff. It was kind of like, oh, cool, it's right up my alley.
You tie those things back to the movie. So
now they think they got away. They think finally, for some reason, he thinks, oh, that'll be the end of it. I punched this guy out and threw him out. Nothing will happen now, And they're having a moment, they're having a father-son moment. He kind of tells them about like all this stuff, like growing up, it was kind of hard. When mom died, you were just always work. Yeah. That's all you ever did. You kind of ignored mom. You kind of ignored me,
and they're having a drink, and he tells him,
having a drink.
"When's the last time we had a drink?" And he goes, "I can tell you what I had at that time was a milkshake." Because they're both drinking at this time like bourbon or scotch, whatever. But and he kind of looks at him like, "Oh, like what?" It's a real
cool moment. It's a really cool like Spielberg moment, especially if you've seen like the Spielberg doc where he kind of finds out him and his dad weren't that close, and he always thought that his dad had ran out on him.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like they came out with a documentary about him. So it kind of, if you see like a lot of Spielberg movies, it always kind of has like father, like really close father-son relationships, So
well, when you say he thought he had ran out on them,
I really forgot what it was. I think the mom did something.
Oh, I see.
He always thought it was his dad that had ran out on him. But it's a really cool moment. Like again, you're saying like how. When was the last time we had this drink? And, when mom died, you kind of just really sank into your work. And, I kind of just fend it for myself. And then he kind of snaps back. He's like, really? He's like, did I ever tell you, like, wash your face, wash behind your neck? Did I ever tell you to go to bed early? He's like, I taught you self-reliance. And he's like, no, what you taught me was your work was more important than to you than to raise me,
Yeah, which is interesting because you almost get from Indiana that maybe he wanted to be told those things. Put me to bed, discipline me, talk to me.
Because,
you know what I mean? Like,
man, that kind of sucks, as kind of like you're growing up and you're thinking, well, this guy doesn't even like love me. He doesn't think I'm important enough to say, hey, you know what? Go jump in the shower.
Right.
Or, hey, here, come eat. It's dinner time.
Or where the fuck are you?
Yeah,
like, where are you? You know what I mean?
So he's kind of like, well, you just kind of like just completely ignored me, and that self-reliance is like, really, like,
you didn't teach him that you're just giving yourself a pat on the back for it. You ignored him basically.
And then he's all like, and then when we're finally getting, when I was finally enjoying conversating with you, you decide to leave.
He goes, just when you were getting interesting, which means like,
God,
wow, that's fucking harsh. Meaning pretty much you were uninteresting as a kid, which Yeah, I mean, guys, babies aren't great conversationalists or whatever. They're babies, and little kids talk about little kids stuff.
But it's because of how you raise them. You know, they start having their own opinions. You know, like, me and Sam love the Indiana Jones movies, but his nephew, my daughter, can easily say, you know what, I think this movie sucked. You know, and we're like, oh shit, sure. Okay, all right.
It's funny. My nephew always asks me too. You guys know famously that I played the Fortnite game together. Indiana Jones would be a great Fortnite character. Like he always, asked me, who do you think would be good or whatever. And it's so funny the characters that have come out that made him interested in something. But it's funny at the end of our Father's Day episode last year. What you mentioned, which sounds like this. You mentioned The Boy Named Sue by Johnny Cash.
Yeah, there you go.
He's like, oh, I gave you that name so you could get tough.
Yeah, I'm like, really?
That's what you contributed to me.
You ran out.
Yeah, you ran out, motherfucker. Like you gave me a girl's name so I can get tough. Yeah. That's kind of what Indiana Jones' dad is saying. He's like, oh,
Henry's kind of like,
I taught you self-reliance. Oh, you just ignored me and you call that a lesson.
Yeah, you just made sure I had a roof over my head. And
right.
That was about it.
Right. You know what I mean? Like maybe there was food in the fridge, but you make your own food.
I made a sandwich. You can make a sandwich too,
And interesting too about the origin, like if anyone ever wondered, is like, they quickly say the mom died,
passed
and
away,
that she was sick. The dad says that she was sick. So it's like kind of if you ever wondered about where was the mom, well, they address all that.
And obviously, as a Boy Scout, and we're just assuming he was 15, 16 at the beginning, the mom looks like she had been dead already by then. So, man, that's a long time,
pretty much be like
go without a mom and just kind of just be you and your dad as roommates, really,
Yeah, I'm sure there's a prequel movie in there somewhere where you could do the Sean Connery aspect where he was so grief stricken that he couldn't, you can even, what do you hear in some of these other movies where they put in that line where like, well, you look just like her, so it was difficult for me to see, you know. So there's more story to be told. Obviously, you can always go.
So you're like. It's like, damn, okay, so they've really had a really splintered relationship, and it
affected him. He was obviously hurt by it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so, But what happens right after that, AA? They have the drink.
The Zeppelin starts turning around.
And he says they're turning around.
That's like, we're going back to Berlin. And you're like, shit, we really got to get out of here now. So he takes him all the way down. He finds a plane. And the dad's like, you can fly? He's like, fly? Yes. Land, no.
which I love in this part. It's kind of interesting, right? Because it looks like the fucking plane is like mounted on the bottom of the fucking Zeppelin. Yeah. And Sean Connery's all like, if I was up that high and someone was like, get in this little cockpit, I'd be like, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, he gets in all like, okay.
You almost have to though, it's
right? Because you're gonna get fucking Nazi killed.
Yeah, and right away, you now after a car chase, a train chase, a boat chase. Now you're getting a plane.
A plane chase.
Yeah, and Nazi, the fighters start coming at him.
Yeah, and he thinks they're good. He's like, oh, I escaped in a plane, but nope, the Nazis, I guess, scrambled some planes.
Right
they come, and he tells his dad, what? You're going to have to use the gun.
Yeah.
And more bumbling ensues, because what does he do, AA?
Yeah, he's like, what did he say? Like, there's planes at 11 o'clock or something, right?
Yeah, and he pulls out his pocket watch. He's like, what's at 11 o'clock? He's like, no. He's giving him the...
He's like, 9, 10, 11,
which I'm 12, like, come 11 on,
o'clock.
Man. Like, I know you don't go in the field, but you're like a man of obviously above average intelligence. Like, okay.
So they're fucking, you're shooting at him. They're having this fight. It's like, shoot the motherfucker.
Yeah.
And, Henry's all like, he doesn't think whatsoever. He's just like, boom, 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 and he blows up the plane. Like, he destroys the tail of the plane.
Like, yeah. And Indiana can tell the plane's not flying right in the morning.
Like, what happened? Did we get hit? And he's like, yeah, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I'm afraid to tell you we're hit. You know what I mean? He's like, fuck it, I ain't gonna take this responsibility for this. It blows off their own back tail. I'm like, you're just like, I thought you're a smart man. Like, what the fuck? But proof to adding to the character that he doesn't do this kind of shit.
No, he's a bookworm.
Yeah, which one of any one of us would be like, oh, I know what I'm doing, arming a turret all of a sudden, you know what I mean? So that leads to them having kind of a crash landing.
And it's funny too, because like they go into this tunnel, like he somehow lands and they go in the tunnel and it's just perfect. It's perfect.
Right. Classic again. Like these are things that Spielberg does in these type of movies that just make it like more exciting. The crash landing, you know what I mean, but barely by a hair. You're lucky and all that, and it's good or whatever, And then they end up
they steal a car.
They steal a car. That's right.
Because there's still one there's still after him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where they go into the tunnel, and that fucking dude goes after him, but like the wings break apart, and it starts being on fire, and he passes them up in the and he blows up, and then there's still like one, and they crash that car, and they have to get off foot, but there's still one. And they actually show Henry's intelligence finally. He's like, the birds, and he sees
that
them
was
on the
cool.
beach, and he's like,
with his umbrella. He has his umbrella the whole time too.
Because the plane's coming real close, and all the birds start going up, and man, they just, they get stuck in the engine. They blind the
pilot. Those old school planes with no
radar, no nothing.
Yeah, so he crashes.
Yeah.
Even when the other guy's aiming, I remember it's just kind of like that metal circle with like the crosshair. They gotta like use that.
Yeah, and then that's when he's like, I remember my Charlemagne, the earth is my weapon, and the birds
around
be my, whatever it was. Yeah.
It was very kind of cool too. Like, okay, his professor side came back out like quoting,
And his dad, and right there, like they have like Indy looking at him like, wow, like,
okay, pretty clever.
He admires him, like.
And got him out of that sticky situation. Yeah. So then next, I think they end up having to decide to go after the book or after the.
They have to get Marcus.
They got to
get him before Donovan and them, hunt him down, because they're like, he's not going to last very long without us, know. And Marcus and Donovan is making like deals with like the Saudi or I don't know where he's.
They're in.
I don't know the kingdom. They're somewhere in the Middle East.
In the Middle East, yeah. I don't know what country they're in at this point.
And pretty much those guardians of the Grail. They I guess work for this, this, what do you call them? The Saudi kings or whatever it is.
Right.
This guy's pretty much selling himself to the Nazis. Like, you can have, the lot, you can have, my army, my cars, blah, blah, blah. This guy does not give a shit about the Grail. He doesn't care about anything.
The Sultan guy.
The Sultan, and he's just all about, buy me out,
he wants the Rolls Royce.
Yeah,
they offer him like, number one, they offer him this chest of like, it looks like fucking people's personal things, which is probably probably the fucking Nazis already like fucking like stealing people from people's houses and shit.
Yeah, what's bad too is like that doesn't even like he's like I already have that. I was like, I want this American car.
The fucking like Nazi out Rolls Royce.
I'm like, really, you're that cheaply bought? Bought? And I'm like, come on.
So that
you can tell like the Guardian guys are just like, golly, this just goes against everything that we're supposed to be fighting against. This guy just sold us out for a fucking Rolls Royce.
Yeah,
he sold out the Grail for a Rolls Royce.
Pretty much. So Donovan's getting in a position to,
and he's supposed to be meeting up with Salah, so Salah can take care of him. And that's where we run into him. But then we find out the Nazis are already there. They already know who Marcus is, and Salah tries his damnedest to keep him safe. He calls,
and we know him from
Raiders. He was the digger.
That's right.
And somehow, Marcus goes into a Nazi truck and they get Marcus.
So he's gone. It's like he's like, oh fuck, so they lose him. But guys, we're at our next break. We see there's some comments loaded in, so we want to get to those. Read them and hear what you guys have to say. We're talking Father's Day, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Sean Connery, Harrison Ford. Have you seen it? Would you watch it? We love it. We want to know what you think about it. What about the Holy Grail, guys? Real? Fake? What's the deal? We'll be right back. Guys, if you're here with us on Facebook Live on Thursday night, you're like, what's wrong, guys? You guys missed a day, whatever. But tomorrow is now a national holiday. Very cool. Something signed into law. Maybe we'll all get that day off, and then it'll be like, that'll be extra awesome, right? Yeah. But obviously, to recognize a very, very important part of history. We don't want to take away from that. You know what I mean? And again, go hear our old episode about Juneteenth, because it's a really awesome episode, and educate yourself a little bit more about that. But this Sunday is Father's Day. Double A is a dad. I'm a godfather and an uncle, and kind of like a pseudo stepdad. You know what I mean? So that's fun. So we wanted to talk about Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade for Father's Day. But what do you guys have to say thus far? I'm going to have Double A further adrenalize me with some comments. But I got to first learn how to scroll up because, I can't ever figure out what I'm doing when I'm doing this portion of the show.
Right there.
Okay, let's bring it up. This one, let's see here.
From Joe. Last Crusade definitely hits the dad feels.
I know. I was thinking you would think that, Joe, for sure.
Rich says, so the Nazis wanted the Grail for what reason again? Was it for Hitler or just to pose? He wanted
possess,
so
I think he means
possess. So pretty much Hitler thought, all these artifacts were real. He wanted to get them. If he somehow got them, he'd be immortal with this Grail. With this, and he'd live out his 1,000-year Reich.
With these enchanted items, he would have additional power. His army couldn't be stopped, couldn't lose.
The Grail for him would be immortality. The Ark, what he was supposed to do was, was Marcus says it in Raiders. With the Ark, anybody that possessed this could crush armies with the power of God.
Right.
So you're trying to get the Ark, trying to destroy your armies. The Grail. Probably for immortality, so he can live forever. For
sure. Joe says Vogel was
Joe.
the main Nazi.
I
totally, good one. Good call on that, Joe. And then Rich said, was it Walter Donovan? I think we got Joe.
Donovan's like your American, the traitors.
He's kind of like, I'm here for the Grail. I'm here for the immortality, whatever. But I'm also selling myself to the highest bidder because I'm a cocksucker.
And plus, he's like, the Nazis are going to win. And I want to be there on top. I want to be able to get all these artifacts too. Like he was like, Hitler can have the world. I want the Grail.
Yeah. Joe calling back to earlier, he says when they snapped that they both slept with the same woman.
Fucking funny.
And I think they address it later. They have a little conversation that
he goes that you're old enough to be your grandfather. And he's like, I'm just as human as the other man.
Yeah.
And he goes, I was the other man.
Yeah.
And they both kind of like laugh.
I love that Sean Connery answer. Like he's like, "Oh, I'm just a man too. Like, my shit still works. So I'm gonna get on it too." You know what I mean?
But
she's hot. She's very hot.
Funny because he was like, "I was the other man."
Yeah. Joe says Marcus was perfect. No ticket.
No ticket.
Classic. I was like, "Oh, that's great." It's just like when you get a one-liner out of Arnold. You know what I mean? So, Rich says
it's a perfect movie to watch. All of them, one after the other.
They're all good. They're all fun.
Probably for a long time, probably had to have been the best three-peat.
Yeah, they're just so good. Escape movies. Again, like I said, I can't say enough about the not heavy-handedness because sometimes it's just like, man, this movie's like a fucking bummer. You know what I mean? Like, like. You guys know I cry at everything. There's not too many teary moments in these, for me, I can just enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh, it's on. Like, it's good. I enjoyed watching it today. I was like, oh, this is a good watch. I'm glad I watched it again. I started it last night and I finished it today. And I was like, that's awesome. Let's see what else we got here from Joe says, my kids enjoyed them. Okay, cool. That's awesome. Joe, your kids are staggered out ages from kind of, I think, 8-ish, like to teenager, adult teenager-ish. So that's awesome. So that means that they like that. And Joe also says,
I think it being set in the 30s makes it timeless. Had it been set in the 80s, it would feel that way watching it now.
Right. Because we lived through that time.
And there's something, but there is something about the 30s that, it feels good. The planes, the cars, the horses.
I don't know what, maybe it was something about that, what you guys are saying with this movie. And of course, it's not the same time frame. But then I went down this like 50s music rabbit hole today. So that was my listening music while I worked. Was like,
is that why the story?
Maybe. Okay. Maybe. And I was listening to like Chuck Berry today and like, Del Shannon and Richie Valens, Big Bopper. I was just like, why did I come in this rabbit hole? I was like, this is not the period exactly, but maybe I don't know. Maybe my brain just connected one thing to another, like older things that maybe because that music has that feel too, right? Like it's like a lot of love songs. It really does. Dude, the Big Bopper, like the wedding song or Big Bopper's Wedding, I think is what it's called, is so fucking funny. You know what I mean? He's like, the first line is like, he's like, he keeps saying, "Take you from my awful wife," and he's like, why am I here getting married? Like the whole song is like this diss to the woman. Like it's like, dude, what a dick Big Bopper was. Joe says next.
I think every kid that don't have the discipline kind of long for it, and vice versa. Yeah, I mean, it's harder and harder to get kids to watch movies. I don't know why.
Yeah. But I think he means too, like in the household double A, because for me, like my parents are pretty lenient as well. And I've heard on your show, Joe, where you've talked about, there wasn't always necessarily like a parental figure right in the immediate vicinity all the time or whatever, which, it's you kind of develop differently, when it's like, oh, I'm left to my own devices. My parents, it's kind of the same thing. I was like, I didn't get in trouble or want to, so they didn't really have to tell me anything. It was kind of like they kind of couldn't get after me because I didn't really do anything. You know what I mean? Like, so when I did start wanting to like stay out late was like the most thing or whatever. You know what I mean? It was kind of like they were like, okay, You know what I mean? It was like, but I've always said it, like I've told, Friday Night and John.
I think you just want to have people that care, just
right.
to be like, I'm trying to protect you. I think that's what you want to hear. I'm just trying to protect you.
Yeah,
that's it.
I would sometimes envy like the TV family setting or whatever, you know what I mean? But we all know that's not realistic. Joe says the score throughout drives it. It's a classic now. Yeah, totally. Again, John Williams talked about it earlier.
That's one of those themes where I think you can play to anyone and you're just like,
yeah, you'll know it right away. Steve says, thanks guys, have a great weekend. Steve, thank you for being here, man. For the time that you were here. Probably work tomorrow, I'm guessing, brother. So by all means, get on it. And again, let us know if you need to connect with Mario for Herculoids. We are here for you, sir. But I think we're probably good on the audio. Let's get into it.
We actually hit a pretty good commercial break.
Yeah, that was a nice one, man.
With Marcus.
I know. Yeah, for sure. Okay, here we go. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out there through what would probably sound like nothing, but I've got to get better at streamlining it so that it sounds like I didn't do any moves, whatever. But we got some great comments from the Friday Night Faithful, Steve, Joe, and Rich, offering their opinions and their thoughts up on Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. For the longest time, what was the last movie in the series?
For a long
it was a great trilogy.
It even kind of feels like it, right? The Last Crusade. Like you're just like, oh, okay.
We're done making these movies.
And this is like his Last Crusade. You know?
Yeah. And then I think we also could say that it's one of the maybe very rare trilogies where all three movies are good.
That's what I'm saying. It was like, it had to have been for a long time the perfect three-peat. For me, at least. Because 3 sequels even, kind of sucked ass.
I was going to say, I mean, what do you call it? I would maybe put Nolan's Batman. It's like a great 3
even
set.
That, though, that's like still like
years later.
It was almost like it was just Star Wars and indie, So
and in a different vein too, because I feel like these movies are more fun than those two trilogies.
I feel like it too.
Definitely, the Nolan's is very dark. You know what I mean? But Star Wars has lighthearted moments, but it also has very other moments that are very scary and sad. And this one is for the most part like good adventure. Like, you know what I mean? Literally, when you think about adventure, classic adventure, you think about Indiana Jones.
I do. So I always do.
For sure. So move us along, Double A. Where are we going next in the movie? Marcus gets taken.
Yeah, he gets taken, and they got to go back to Berlin,
right?
Because they found out, Henry, the dad, he's like, they have the Grail. We have to go back.
Yeah.
Because now they have Marcus, they're going to complete the whole book. And if they get it, that's just going to be doomed for the whole world. For Henry, it's pretty simple. This is a bad man that's trying to rule the world. He's not trying to make it better.
Yeah.
He's trying to use every advantage he can to take over the world.
This is kind of where you get that little understanding a little bit more about where, Indiana's dad is coming from, where he's like, it's not about possessing the artifact. It's about that it can't fall into the wrong hands.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty neat thing. And I mean, and it's kind of about faith too. He's kind of talking about
it's very
that.
faith heavy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, Indy's not liking this. He's like, you want us to go back to Berlin? The lion's den?
Yeah.
We're hunted. We're like the public enemy number ones.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, you're fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, I can't remember anything. I wrote everything in the diary so I wouldn't have to remember.
Yeah.
And so they're like, all right. So Indy's like, okay, so they turn around. They go to this big old rally, where they're burning books.
Yeah.
And
that thing. And you even see the female, she was a professor too.
She probably at some point, before she really got brought into the whole Hitler propaganda, about they were the strong race, and she probably believed.
What was her name again? What's her name?
Elsa.
Elsa, yeah. So she looks a little emotional kind of at the book.
She does
burning.
Because she's like, that's not what she was about.
Right.
Know?
And you're kind of in the face of witnessing of like, oh, I'm seeing
this
the
is
machine.
Where it's going. Yes.
Yeah, right. I'm seeing the brainwashing taking over. You're burning books. Like that's like the stupidest thing you can do. You know what I mean? Like, books are, knowledge, and knowledge is power, or it teaches you, also.
And that's probably why he was burning them.
Yeah. Yeah. They can teach you love and respect and compassion. And so, so that's always fucked up when you're seeing that. So you're seeing her kind of have a moment like, ugh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so somehow he sneaks in, he gets a German outfit, he finds Elsa, and he pretty much manhandles her. He grabs her, he starts choking, he grabs her by the neck, and he's like, give me the girl, I'm going to fucking start choking.
Yeah, he tells her, it's like, all I have to do is squeeze.
And he's just like, he's pissed, he's disappointed, he's like, like she's trying to, like, this is not what I'm about. I'm for the grill, I'm trying to protect it, he's like bullshit, you're everything the grill doesn't stand for,
Yeah.
And he's like,
she's already sold out.
Yeah, he's like, I don't give a damn what you believe in, and he gets it from her. He's like, I got it, I'm leaving, and this fucking part, he's trying to leave. He grabs his dad. He's trying to leave, and then like the whole crowd just like moshes them.
Yeah,
and they push him, and then you find out like Hitler's coming. So like everyone's like trying to get an autograph, and he doesn't know like he's being pushed.
Yeah,
he's being pushed, and then he comes face to face with fucking Hitler, and you're just like, holy shit. And then he grabs his book, and you're just like, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah, and he's looking at him right in the eye. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's nervous. He does it again. He does a great job of like showing his face, like where he's like, like holy shit, I'm right here. And he grabs his book, and he, Hitler goes like that, and
they had him the pen.
He autographs the damn book.
The dad's Grail book.
I'm like, oh my goodness. It's like the worst fucking autograph you can have in that book.
But just so, what a moment. I completely had forgot that moment. So it was such a joy to watch it. I was laughing. So I was like, oh my gosh.
And then like
Indiana Jones met Hitler.
Yeah, and then Indy smiles because he's like, oh shit, it's like, I got away, and they just get him out of the way, after he signs it, they get him out of the way.
Yeah. But it was so funny to me because since I didn't remember that moment, I was like, "Oh no, the book's gonna end up in the fire!" And I was like, "What the fuck?" And so then I was like, "Wow, I did not expect that moment." So that was fucking funny to me, and I completely forgot it. So I hadn't watched it in a long time. It's been years since I seen it.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. You watch it pretty frequently?
Yeah, because it comes on the Paramount channel a lot. Like it's almost like every so often they'll show the whole trilogy or all of them actually.
It's so funny. Like certain movies, I feel like I always like catch parts, but that's like a part that I don't remember ever catching. Like
really?
I'll catch the end a lot. I'll catch maybe some of the beginning. Because I always remember the X marks the spot thing. Like I would see that. I feel like I've seen that scene like a dozen times, and then the end, the whole end is like so famous.
Yeah, it is.
But that you see it and you feel like you've seen it, a bunch of times. But anyway, so they get out of there.
Yeah, they get it, and now it's the hunt for Marcus, trying to get Marcus, so they can get those pages from him and get him away as well.
Yeah,
because now Donovan is like really creeping up. He's really fucking close to what his location, You get to feel like now they're in that race.
They're in the race for that. So that makes, again, Spielberg's layering on the excitement, level after level of like, what next? Like you're staying on the edge of your seat,
Yeah, and then you go like, we're kind of fast forwarding, but you get like this tank battle now in the desert.
That's right. Oh yeah.
Now it's like another another chase.
How about the classic like cartoon, the rock and the gun, and it blows up, and then it's like all like
I was like, what really? What that happened?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It was such a cartoon moment. Made me think about that. Where they stick their finger in the gun, and then but. Yeah, so that happens. That's a pretty cool scene.
It's a great action scene. He's trying to get Marcus and his dad. And
they're in the tank at one point,
and he finally has the showdown. Finally, with Vogel, they finally has the showdown with the main German.
Right.
Yeah. And Indy comes out on top, man.
Yeah, they fight it out.
It's brutal. It's pretty hardcore. But he gets it out. He gets it going.
Indiana gets it going. He kills like 3 Nazis with the Luger. Like at one point, the bullet goes through all 3 of them. Even he looks at the gun like, whoa, all right.
And he even fall like that.
Yeah.
Like that.
And it's so funny. It's just like things like this that like, could easily maybe take somebody out of the movie, but you're just like, you're there for it.
You're already on the ride, and it just it feels natural.
It's fine. Yeah. It's like,
you got like the perfect bad guy,
right.
You don't give a shit how how they go, it's
almost like
foil.
You commit early on to like some of the little bit of the unbelievable. So you're just like, all right, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like again, I can't say it anymore that you're just kind of like you're there for it or whatever. It's like if you go to, watch Looney Tunes or whatever, you're not expecting to be like, oh, that couldn't happen. It's like, what the fuck? What you know what you're here for, right? So so that's a great scene in the desert.
Yeah, and then like he finally, Sala helps him, he's with him, he grabs Marcus, he grabs his dad, he's stuck on the tank, and it goes down, and you see like the main German guy, he's fucking dead, and and you don't see anything, and Henry kind of lets out like a lot of emotion. He's like,
I was forgetting about that. So that's such a
he's like,
good
scene. It actually looks like a lot of regret, like I didn't get to goodbye. He looks like really hurt.
He says it would have took 5 minutes. Yeah, and he's like,
and then you see like the hand coming up, and you see him where he held on, and
a little bit over from where they're looking over, and he's climbing up,
and he sees him, and he gives him this great big hug.
Yeah, that's just such a good.
And you see like
that part, I did a little bit like.
And you see Indy where he's just like he's loving the moment. He's all like, like he's like he cared. He cared, and then it's like Henry catching himself. He's like, oh. Okay, right. All right. Well, we got a job to do, and he kind of just like falls to the ground. Back to it was kind of like he was hugging him and holding him.
Yeah, but he's like, back to business. They got to get back to.
We got to go. Yeah, he's like, come on, let's go. We got to beat Donovan. Donovan's ahead of us. We got to get to him.
And well, they don't beat him. Right. Yeah. I mean, we pretty much get to the cave, right?
So we get to the cave, but now it's kind of like, okay, now there's these which. I'm pretty sure Donovan had read in the book, there's trials.
Right.
In order to get to this place. And he has all these like goons, these soldiers, these poor fucking soldiers.
Yeah, well, I think these are some of like the Sultan's men that he got for a Rolls. Yeah, this guy sold their life for a fucking Rolls Royce.
And he just keeps sending them in. And they don't even get past the first one.
And how about that brutal scene in the beginning, right? The guy's going in.
He's going in. And like, I don't know, like all of a sudden it gets like windy, the spider webs are moving, and then all of a sudden it's like, and you see the head rolling, and you're like, holy shit.
And it lands right at the feet of now our other guys have arrived.
Yeah.
But since they got beat by Marcus and them, it's kind of, and Donovan and them, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, guess what? You're going to be our new volunteer.
But at first, you hear Donovan in the back, like, next volunteer, you're just like, golly, this guy's just like, he's just throwing people.
And they're seeing, the other guys are kind of like, whoa, because it's like, we're seeing these guys just fucking die. Like, nobody's getting through. What the fuck am I going to do to get through,
Yeah, and they, they're trying to sneak up on Donovan, and the soldiers, they surround them. And that's what you said. Yeah, he's like, you're going to go and get it for me.
Yeah,
and then he's like, oh, nah.
Yeah.
You can go to hell,
Right. And he's like, you can, I forget what he tells him. You can kill me or whatever, or something like that, right?
Yeah, you're gonna have to kill me.
Yeah, and then he's like, well, I think I'll just kill your dad. So he fucking shoots him in the gut.
You can go and get the Grail and you can heal your dad, or you can stay here. You can die and he will die too.
Which is a pretty clever motivational move by that asshole Donovan, whatever. And you also get another touching moment between Indiana and the dad where he's like, you can see his genuine concern for his dad, despite the fact that,
because they've been on this journey now, both of them,
and you never get the impression that he hated him or did he just was maybe disappointed.
Just a really strained relationship. You just wanted something from your dad.
He wanted to have that good relationship with
that hugging part. That's all he ever wanted.
Right.
Just give me a hug, man.
Yeah. And now it's cool because he's getting to help his dad pursue like his kind of life.
And that's gotta be cool too,
But anywho, so that happened. So obviously Indiana's like motivated now, and now comes into where he has to.
And he's read the book, so he's read the diary. So now he's like, okay, there's going to be a lot of, shit, but he's smarter,
But it's not like just like do this. It's a kind of a riddleized in a way.
It's very riddleized. He's like kneel before God, and that's like literally like kneel and get the fuck out of the way, or else what always gets me is like, okay, you missed the first one, but man, that one that pops out on the bottom, you're like, holy shit!
How had to roll?
Yeah, I was like, whoa! I was thinking to myself, CM, if I did that, I probably would have missed the first one, but that second one would have cut me in half.
Oh yeah, I should have been like, okay, I dug.
Yeah, I dug, but then there was this other one that came out. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And smartly, what he does after the blades come out, when he dodges them, he ties the thing up
to stop it.
Rolling. So the blades are there now. You can see the blades where they're at. So now he's making it easier now for Donovan You know, and he tells him, you know, I'm through.
I'm through.
You know?
Yeah. And it's neat too, because Spielberg does a great job where he's cutting back to Sean Connery, who's like, he knows it. He knows it by heart, the trials, and he's
because Henry's not going to die right away. It's a bad like stomach wound, but I don't think you die right away from those. You know, it's just very, very.
If
very
Reservoir Dogs has taught us anything,
it's just painful as fuck. You know? So next one is what the foot, right? The letters, right? Yeah. It's the name of God.
The name of
God.
Know,
and you're just like, for anyone that doesn't know, you're just like God. You know,
right? Yeah.
You know, and then he's like, no, you know, in Hebrew, it's Jehovah, and then you know that the thing, you're like, okay, Jay, you're probably thinking too, like Indy, and he's like Jay, and he's like, oh, you know, he crashes down, and he's like, and he gets mad at himself, he's like, idiot. You know, and the lighting, you know, starts with an I. You know, I'm like,
and at the same time, you see, you know, his dad laying there, but he's like,
and even he knows, he's like, oh no, you know, he's like, but it doesn't start with the J. You know?
Where you get the impression, right, that if it was his dad going through, he'd be so ready because he knew these trials.
That first one though would be a motherfucker.
Yeah, and you know, and he's obviously hoping, you know, for Indiana to get through or whatever. But he's like, damn it, is he going to remember the things? You know what I mean?
And I don't know if he saw it, but like when he's doing that challenge, when he finally gets it, you can see Donovan's like right behind him.
No, I didn't notice
so
that.
Like they're like looking at him.
They're
coming in, seeing what he's doing. So I was like, I remember catching, I was like, oh, that motherfucker. You know, he's like right behind him.
Like, oh, I can walk through now. And he's, so you're essentially following the steps.
Pretty much. So he's like, okay, so you got to spell like Jehovah.
Right. Right. And so then, what's the next one?
Illusion,
the leap of faith.
That always got me. I always thought that was such a great scene. I was like,
that was
he's like,
cool.
how, you know, he's like, what the fuck? You know, he's like faith. You know, he's like, okay, you know,
you step out on there.
You know, and
it's like a big chasm. Like there's like no way.
And he's looking.
He's like, no one could jump this.
Yeah, he's like, there's no way. And he's looking at the pages like of how like someone's like walking. And it shows like one where one's doing it when the other one falls. So he like takes a deep breath, kind of like his faith, like, and he does the step, and he's like, ooh, and he lands, and then that's when he kind of like starts seeing. He's like,
from the side.
You start seeing the camera move, and you're like, oh, okay, shit, there it is.
It's almost like, and you can look this up like now on YouTube. So they have these artists that will go like to a street and paint like a puddle of water, and it looks like fucking real. Like that's how realistic they're, and that's kind of how this is or whatever.
It's crazy. I was like, holy shit, there it is.
And I always remember thinking it was so smart when he got to the other end, right? He throws the sand,
he throws the rocks for Donovan because he's like, this idiot's not going to figure it out. You know? And he throws a rock so he could see.
And see, I thought he was always doing that for when he had to come back. Like I think I could see it myself.
I think it was for that.
But
and probably too to come back too. But you know, it's like, oh, you know, this fucking dude. You know?
Right. Still very cool. And then what happens?
He finally reaches the knight, the fucking knight that's been alive since 11 something.
I think he says 700 years. Right? He's like, you're 700 years old. Like that. And he tries to get him first with the sword, but he's so old.
He's so old. That sword is so heavy.
But it's cool, right? To see like the knight, you're like, holy shit.
Again, like you know, they kind of describe them, you know, 3 brothers, you know, 2 of them left and didn't make it far from the desert. They died of extreme old age, and one stayed behind. So you're just like, wow. You know?
And he says they're like Templars. Are they
were Knights Templar. Yeah.
Like, that's like, holy shit, what the fuck? I'm meeting you, you know what I mean? Like,
you know, it's like it's someone that's not supposed to be alive. You know, and he sees Indy, and he's like, you know, you look weird.
You're dressed strangely, he tells you.
He's like, what?
For a night, right. That's cool. That's a cool
he tells
part.
him the whole thing, you know, I'm you know, one of 3 brothers, you know, protecting the Grail. And it's in this room, it's a round room, and there's nothing but cups like all around
gold,
gold. Every kind of cup that you can kind of think. You know, and in Indy's turn, like, look, I don't have that much time. There's some people, and then right when he says that, Donovan
come in,
and Donovan and Elsa, and you know, they're like, wow, you know, like they have this look, and they're trying to find a Grail because again, you know, if you get the Grail, you know, you're going to be immortal.
Yeah, you get immortality.
You know, you're thinking, okay, Donovan's a smart guy, blah blah blah. He tells Elsa, he's like, I don't know what the Grail looks like.
Right.
You know, I have no idea. It can be anyone, you know, and the knight tells him, it was like, you know, if you got to choose wisely. If you choose the wrong cup, you know.
Yeah, very famous.
Bad,
that's like,
you know?
the meme is like forever. It's just knight and it says choose wisely.
Yeah.
You know.
And so he lets Elsa pick the cup. And, you know, he's like, you know, I'll do it. And he's like, oh, thank you, doctor. And she picks his cup, and he's like he's admiring it. It's gold. It's got rubies, and he's like, oh wow, this is so beautiful. It's like this is a cup for a king. And so he drinks the water. He gets some water, and he drinks it, and he's like, oh, nice.
Yeah,
and it and Elsa has this look like she's studying it, and then all of a sudden he starts aging.
Yeah,
really fucking quick,
really
and then you
crazy.
see like a smirk on her face, like oh man, this bitch set him up.
She set his ass up. Yeah,
and he starts aging like quick.
And his
like
hair grows long, and he starts to wrinkle up. And
his skin starts eating up, and it looks like he's even still alive, like almost like all the way. It's like you can almost
kind of grabs her. He grabs onto her
until like Indy pushes the now skeleton away, and he just
explodes like
dust.
Yeah, which I'm like, man, that fucker got the brutal death he deserved.
And like I said, it sounds like he's like almost alive during this whole process. Like it's like, damn.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fucked up. It was a classic, one of those deaths at Indiana Jones, like the guy at the Ark, and it was like,
the other Nazi guy.
So it's kind of cool that Spielberg makes sure to put in these Nazi bastards get what they deserve. So,
and then Indy's kind of like, it wouldn't be like a fancy cup; it'd be a cup of a carpenter. Because if you know your history of Jesus, he's supposedly was a carpenter. That's how he made his living.
So it wouldn't be one of these beautiful gold chalices. It's all beautiful or whatever. It would be the simplest cup.
And he finds it. He finds the simplest cup. He gets it. He drinks the water.
He says only one way to find out.
Yeah,
because he's got to go take some to his dad.
Yeah.
And the knights, like, he chose wisely.
And then you get the kicker. It's like, okay, you can be immortal, but you can't cross the seal. You can never leave this place. So that was like the thing.
That was it.
It was like, yeah, you can be like me, but you're gonna have to be me
forever. You'll be here.
Yeah. And so he's like, well, that's not what Indy wanted anyways. But you're just laughing because like Donovan thought, he'd get the Grail, take it, and he'd be immortal. Right. It's not gonna fucking work. And Indy quickly, gets water, takes it back to his dad, and he pours it over the shot wound.
Yeah, that was cool.
And it heals, man. It just fucking all heals. And it looks crazy.
Yeah.
It turns into like foam and just washes away. And
then you see his dad too kind of gets a good look at the cup.
Yeah, he drinks from the water too. And he's like, wow,
that's it.
Like he's admiring. It'd probably be like if we saw Action Comics #1. It would be like, oh,
there's a reason why we call it the Holy Grail. Like, wow,
that's the reason why you call anything the Holy
Grail. Truly. So that's a cool part.
And then Elsa, kind of goes back. Well, first off, that scares all the soldiers when they see it. When they see it, they're like, "Holy shit!" And there's no one left of like really Donovan's. That's it. That was just Donovan, Elsa, and the soldiers. That was it.
And the knight tells him, if you can't go past the seal, there's like a seal on the floor or whatever.
You can't take the Grail because the whole place will collapse.
Mm-hmm.
And she's already thinking about the glory. It's like, Indy, it can be me and you. We can show this off to everyone. We found a couple Christ.
I mean, it would be the find of a lifetime. Like it would be like, can you imagine? It must have been like when archaeologists first found like King Tut's tomb. You know what I mean? Like it's like, holy fuck, this sarcophagus
I don't know
here.
how you would prove that would be a couple of Christ. I really don't know how any of that works. But she starts getting greedy. She starts thinking about that, and he's like, Elsa, you can't cross the seal. The knight warned us. She crosses it, and the fucking place just starts breaking apart, falling apart. And she falls. The Grail's fucking falls. She tries grabbing it. It slips into the crevice. And she dives after it, and Indy's trying to hold her, and she's trying to reach for it. And it's like, forget about the Grail. I can't. You're slipping.
He tells her, he's like, give me your other hand, but she's still
I can't hold you.
It, you know what I mean?
And the glove, man, it comes off. It slides off, and she falls down.
It just shows like whatever, like this mist down there is like, that's it for her. And then right after, like immediately after, it's like
a little quake or something, and knocks
he
him
falls
over.
in, and his dad grabs him. So now it's like, man,
and he's like really close. He's like touching.
He says it.
Ground.
He's like, Dad, I can feel it, and he's like, no, man.
And he tells him like, Indiana, Indiana, and that grabs Indy's attention, because he never calls him Indiana.
He's been calling him Junior the whole time,
and he's like, let it go. And he grabs his hand, he pulls him up.
Yeah.
They see the knight for the last time, and they're like,
it's kind of cool. It kind of does the wave.
Yeah.
So.
I wonder how that night goes. He's like, fuckers.
Yeah, he's like, my plan was to walk out of here and die finally after 700 years. But I guess now the girl will be, in a sense, lost under the rubble. So
what's cool is that place. It's a real place. It really is carved into the mountain. Yeah, that is a real place where they filmed. I was like, wow, that's fucking amazing. That I would love to see that.
Yeah,
it's hidden in the caverns and everything. That whatever it was used for, I don't know what it was used for, but I was like, wow, that's amazing.
I had no idea that was real. That's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah, and then you get the happy endings: Sala, Marcus, Indy. Henry. And he find out about the origin of Indiana, where he got the Indiana. He's like, what is this Junior business? It's like, that's his name, Henry Jones Jr.
Yeah.
He's like, I'd like to be called Indiana. And named the dog Indiana. And Sala just lets out this big laugh, like, really? You're named after the fucking dog?
He's like, I have a lot of fun memories of that dog.
And then you see this great shot. It's just all four of them just riding into the sunset.
Yeah.
Just
classic.
After this whole adventure, of looking for a grail, of reconciling with your dad, Yeah.
And he found it. I mean, shit. Indiana Jones is going to be like, hey, I found the Ark of the Covenant and the Holy Grail.
It must be something for Henry, too. Just you're always reading about it, drawing, finding all these pictures, and to actually have held it, to have seen it, to have it actually work on you, I mean, that must have been fucking amazing.
And who's to say maybe there was any latent leftover powers that you got from drinking from the cup? Maybe. Who knows, man?
Obviously, he's dead in part 4, but
right, that's true. He didn't live forever, but very cool, man. Very good. I loved it. It was great to rewatch it. This is one of the things I like about when we do a show like this, and when one of us presents something to the other, it's like we either get to read it or watch it or rewatch it, and it's been a while. Appreciate it
more.
Yeah, totally, man. Then we get to bring it here to you guys and talk to it about it with you guys. But excellent pick, Double A, and good Father's Day movie. And
I think so. I'm probably gonna sit back and watch it on Sunday. So.
Yeah, I like to think that Henry Sr. in Indiana, had a good
relationship afterwards. Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I don't know how old he's supposed to be, the dad, but you know what I mean. It's like hopefully that experience bonded them. You know what I mean.
More. And I think it would have. Yeah. So
for sure, man. I mean, helping your dad complete his life's work and his, that journey. You know what I mean. Like
you can't forget somebody like that. That whole journey. You're never going to be able to. Nazis chasing after you.
No shit, right?
And all the chases that happen in this movie.
Yeah, right. I mean, imagine if I took years off of your life, like the fucking stress, like fuck,
And then, like I said, to actually hold the Holy Grail. I mean, that's it. That's the Holy Grail.
Shit,
man.
to me, like meeting that ancient knight. I mean, like what the fuck? Right? Like, I mean, that's fucking insane.
A fucking crusader.
Yeah, man. Like, that's the relic you should have took with you back out. But yeah, man, great movie. I loved it. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Let's close this block, open a new block, read the last of the comments, and close out the show, man. And get people's Father's Day weekend started. All right, guys, you're listening to us on audio. You'll hear a brief silence, and then we'll be right back. Guys, we got some comments in here. A few of you guys still hanging out with us. We greatly appreciate you, man. It's awesome. Let's see. Joe here says it starts with an I. That's right. The name of, we all know this now, right? We learned from Indiana Jones. So if we're ever in the situation about to find the Holy Grail, although why were the letters in English? Did we talk about that? Like, what's it? I guess maybe because the night was harder. The night was English.
That's true. Golly, wow! You kind of did something to me there. Why were they in English if it was built in the in the 1100s, 1500s? Wow.
Yeah. Then it's
it
spelled.
It should have been in Latin.
Yeah,
right?
It's the Latin spelling, but it's English letters.
My fucking brain just. I can't wait to tell my wife about that. Wow.
I know, man. Was she a fan of these before?
I think so, but I think she appreciated it more when she saw it with me. Yeah.
Joe, that's what I like to tell people that are shopping on threelegedrabbit.com for just another Friday night shirt. Choose wisely. You go on there. So or not, or choose absentmindedly and just buy more shit. You know what I mean? Like it helps us. You know what I mean? So, Rich says it's a great movie. It's truly a classic. Yeah, Rich, do you rewatch often? When do you get your Indiana Jones? And are we making you want to go revisit? Has it been a while?
I want to see it again.
If you do, how will you watch? Do you own your own copies, Blu-ray, DVD, or will you have to stream it somewhere? It's not on any streamers because again, I had to buy it on Amazon.
It's on Paramount, a streaming service.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. I could have rented it for $4.
It used to be CBS,
I wanted to buy
it's Paramount now. They changed it to Paramount.
Nice, nice. CBS all I do rewatch often. Awesome, man. Awesome. Rich is good. These are classics, man.
Joe says, great movie pick, man. One of my favorites. And then he followed it up with, I like playing the Laura Croft because of the Indiana Jones film.
Nice, man. Totally.
And Joe says, I think they're on Paramount. Yes, they are.
Just confirmed that.
And Rich says, I enjoy them. They are good movies. They
awesome,
really
man.
are good.
I'm glad that some of our very, very faithful Friday Night Faithful members are here, our Friday Nighters, and they feel the same way that we do about the movie. Guys, let's talk briefly in this break while our audio gets loaded up here. Theories for 5. What do y'all think they'll do? What will be the...
Have they even released any kind of like hints?
Just recently this week, the only thing that came out was, there's no name yet that I know of, but just an image of him dressed up. You know what I mean? And of course, a lot of haters are like, he looks too old. And I'm like, he looks 80. The fucking same.
It's the same people that, they kind of bash like Kiss for saying that he can't sing like the way he used to. Well, no shit.
Well, right, yeah,
he's in his 70s now.
You aged, but he can probably still sing better than you. And
not just that, but Paul Stanley's still in better shape than most people.
Right, right. And Harrison Ford,
the guy's still wearing his fucking platform boots, and moving around the stage. No 70-something-year-old man should be able to do that,
No, and for Harrison to even be on set doing that, he could have just said no. Could have just retired. It's like, you're taking this on. I mean, maybe they're going to body double it.
What 80-year-old man can you think of can go to a movie production as big as Indiana Jones, to do the lines, to do the action? I mean, golly. That's amazing. We should be lucky we're even getting another one.
Exactly. Because it's really, risque at this point, because it's like, how are you going to pull it off, and how does it come off believable, and when do you set it, and what do you do? Because I always felt as though they've always had like a good thing to chase after. So what now? I mean, they did the alien thing.
So that was supposed to be 57. Where do you think they're going to go? 60s, 70s?
No, I think you got to keep it pretty close. Maybe early 60s at the most. I mean, I don't know. 60s. What are some theories? Maybe like, or even you could even do it 59, because the other ones.
Well, Lucas and Spielberg are not really involved, right? Story wise,
right? I don't think so. That James Mangold is the one directing, who's great, from Logan, 310 to Yuma, the new one. The man can make a Western, so that's kind of an interesting. Maybe he does I think. See, I need to go back to the wiki, but I think that they say that they addressed like El Dorado, Atlantis. You know what I mean? So I mean, that would be something like
There's so much out there. There's so much mysteries. I mean, the Aztecs, the Mayans. I mean, you can do anything. The pyramids.
It just feels though like when it comes to Indiana Jones, it's always like one of like the great mysteries.
Well, see, that's the thing though. It's like, okay, Raiders had the Ark, and then this one had the Grail, but then like Temple of Doom was like the rocks, which he pulled out of people's hearts. So I mean, that was,
it wasn't like a famous artifact, you know what I mean? But I feel like there's more. It has more meat on the bones if it is something famous.
But I mean, I always thought that was kind of weird, It's like, and then like you said, like we said, Crystal Skull, the Indiana Jones and Crystal Skulls, were aliens. The ancient alien theory,
which is another great mystery of the world, right? Like, do aliens exist?
Like I said, I love that theory. I'm a huge believer in that theory. That'd be cool if it's awesome. So
I love that show. I watch that.
I watch it a lot too. That's where I really got hooked onto that whole theory.
Let's see what we got here, Dolly. It says we got that one from Rich. Joe says,
yeah, I gotta have it because I gotta have SpongeBob for the kid.
Right on.
Paramount, probably.
Paramount, yeah. I gotta get that one too because my nephew's always asking about the SpongeBob.
Rich says, I was just gonna ask what story they do in part 5.
Yeah. What do you think, Rich? What's your theory? What would you put together for it?
You got to go for something biblical, right?
I was thinking that, but did they do the Spear of Destiny?
No, they didn't do the Spear. So I mean, you can Constantine though. What people say is too much Constantine because that's what that movie was about. Was the Spear of Destiny?
I've never seen anything really done with the Shroud of Turin, but maybe it's like I don't know if it's 2. I don't know. You know what I mean? So that's
well, they have that though in the museum though.
Well, right, but was it proven to be the real one? So yeah, that's kind of tough. You know what I mean? I don't know.
A cross, a piece of the cross.
Piece of the cross. Yeah. Do you think they will go modern now or stay within the late 50s?
See, that's 60s? The thing though. So now I don't think you can really do biblical because that was really a Hitler thing. Going that way. The 50s was the Soviets were after the Crystal Skulls, or I mean.
I need to see what it was. I'd have to rewatch it. I haven't rewatched it.
Okay, so still, Cold War is still going strong if they're going to keep it in the 60s or 70s. Really, I mean, the Cold War is still going strong. So I'm guessing the Russians would still be the bad guys.
Yeah, it could still be the Russians. You could still do that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's so many things. So many stories that
could you do anything with maybe Cuban Missile Crisis?
You can't do that. That's like 62, 63. So,
but what is the thing though? You still got to have like an archaeological.
But what is around there?
Yeah, you would need
X-Men, and then X-Men used that too in First Class.
Use that, yeah.
Remember for the whole Shaw,
which was still the Russians, really.
Yeah, but it was him though playing both sides.
Sides. Yeah, that's interesting. Let me start the recording again, guys. We're going to close out with the last block here, and we're going to talk through your comments while we're on there and talk about our theories for the next Indiana Jones. Guys, thanks for hanging in there through pretty much like nothing, just like a drop in the audio for a second, maybe. But we're going to talk out the rest of our theories, guys. Now we're talking what's going to be the last Indiana Jones about Indiana Jones 5. Where would you go? What direction would you take it? What is a potential? We're saying that the last one was set in 57 in Crystal Skull. What could be the artifact, or what are they after? And are we still against the Russians? You know what I mean? So, who knows what that is?
What was one cool part about Crystal Skulls? You remember when he takes us to the warehouse and he's like, give me the gunpowder. Give me all your gunpowder. And she's like, give it to him. And he kind of he goes to like top and he kind of blows it. And because the Crystal Skulls are like magnetic.
Or whatever. Yeah, that's
pretty cool. You see the fucking dust going around.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Like, holy shit!
I need to rewatch it because I haven't rewatched it so long. Maybe it's
got some good parts.
Okay.
It's got good parts.
Okay. Just as what about early American deals? You mean like on Pawn Stars, or what are you talking about? What kind of deals are you talking about? Who wants to be a millionaire? I don't know. Civil War gold. Hey, that's a nice one. That's a good one. Okay, I get you on that. All right. I like that. Or maybe they dig deep and maybe they find some type of Native American type, something or other. That'd be kind of cool
go there though, right? In
Did they?
Skulls?
Was it Native Americans though?
No.
No, I don't know.
What was it, Aztecs?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I think that sounds more familiar. I know they go to Roswell and all that.
Roswell,
right? Yeah, they go to Roswell.
They do go there.
Stuff, so I definitely need to rewatch Crystal Skull. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm happy to see it. You probably do got to make it Harrison's last. Do you kill him off?
No, man. You don't have to kill a character.
Yeah, you don't have to kill him off.
Just give him one more mission, man. You don't kill James Bond off, do you? You just give him new missions.
No, but you get new guys. Do you get a new guy? Because look at all this time.
Look at all we
could have had between Last Crusade, again, to refresh anyone here, Temple of Doom is supposed to be 1935. The very next year, 1936, Indiana Jones steps his game up and finds the Ark of the Covenant. And then 2 years later, he finds the Holy Grail. So between that and 57, I mean, there's a myriad of adventures.
Remember, he joins the war. You remember that part?
Oh no, I don't remember that.
He becomes like an agent.
They say that.
Yeah, and he actually does missions against Nazis, and then he does missions against the Soviet Union.
I'll take those stories.
Yeah, he's he even has a rank. Watch the beginning of Crystal Skulls, because they accuse him of being a communist, and they're like, "Have you seen his record?"
Yeah,
and they tell his rank and what he's done, the missions that he's done for America and everything.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, so he actually did serve in the military.
Yeah,
during that time.
Who would you guys recast as a young Indiana Jones?
I think you'd go Chris Pratt.
Doesn't look like him though. What about the guy that played Han Solo?
Oh, jeez.
I felt like he looked a little too chubby in Han Solo. I was like, that guy should have
don't get me wrong. I like that dude. He was fine. He was great at Solo, but I don't know. You're kind of pushing it now for him.
Right now, you're just like the Harrison Ford standard. Do you guys think that we've all seen like the deep fake, right, where they swap the face, you know what I mean, and like, you know, do you guys think that they will ever do it in the way that we saw Luke Skywalker? Will they ever do an entire movie like that with somebody where the face is?
I'm starting to feel like they might go that way.
I mean, remember we were talking about the hologram concerts? You were telling about that. They were doing the hologram Freddie Mercury in front of the Queen concert.
Was the first one they've actually done.
And they were still selling out, right? People were still going. Yeah. I wonder how it, like, did you ever see video? Did it look good?
No, I never saw the video.
I would like to know how
I was a little outraged myself, but I don't know.
It feels kind of blasphemous, you think?
I don't know. It's weird. Yeah,
they just plug in like whatever audio from whatever it is. Like, I mean, hello, New York.
It's kind of a cool idea, you know. I mean, it'd be something to see like a hologram of Elvis, I guess, or you know, someone I had never seen, the Beatles, maybe. You know, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would say that there'd be a really, you know, like. When I saw Eddie Vedder at that Lila Cockrell Theater, it was a very small, very intimate environment. If you did a show like that, and maybe you did like Elvis in the black suit, like the hologram. But again, like, when are you going to charge for that? You can't charge me Elvis prices. You got to charge me like
because really all you're seeing is a laser show.
Yeah,
you know when it comes down to
you've been to the Pink Floyd one, right?
I have.
What do you pay for that?
60? 15. No, it's cheap.
That's great.
Real cheap.
I'll pay that.
But now you're trying to cash in on the name, even though it's not even the person. You know, it's like
that's true. I mean, I guess if the money goes to their estate or whatever, you know.
I guess.
See, the thing about that is like the hologram don't get tired. The hologram can do shows back to back to back to back. Yeah. You know? Like, you know, and it can be in multiple cities at one time. I mean, like you don't need the whole band, you know.
Yeah.
So let's see what else we got here. Is it Rich says?
He goes, do you think Harrison will be the main actor of it, or will he be second to someone? I'm hoping it's just going to be him. Just give him one more movie.
Yeah. I hope it's just him, and you know, you round it out.
I think they're trying to cut out everything from what Crystal Skulls was, because he was kind of like it was showing that Shia was supposed to be like the main character,
right?
You know,
and I think that's also what turned people off. Which
turned off a lot of people.
I think this is what turned people off about the new Star Wars trilogy. They're like, we don't like you handing over the reins. Like they knew when they killed off Han Solo, they were like, what are you doing? You're trying to make Poe the new Han Solo, and then you know they kill off Luke essentially in the next one, and they're like, no, like people were already like, we don't like, we know what you're doing, we don't like it, we don't like it, we don't like it. And I'm like, see, they fucked up, because those movies to me are not terrible. We still got to have that discussion, but you know, I like what Joe says right here. Chris Pine.
I like Chris Pine.
I like Chris Pine.
Huge fan of Chris Pine.
I could see Chris Pine. Pulling it off.
I'm a huge fan.
I could see that.
And you know what? He's actually probably around the same age now that probably Harrison Ford was.
Yeah, I like that, Joe. You pick up maybe a little bit, few years after Last Crusade. Maybe you even show him at the funeral of the father.
Yeah.
You know,
do the military thing.
Yeah, show the mother. Yeah, start those stories. Give us a trilogy of that, right? Give us a trilogy to take us up to Crystal Skull. You know what I mean? Like you could do that, because it's what did I say? So 38
to 57.
Which that's the war. When was
pretty much 38 to 45. Yeah, when he started attacking England.
Yeah, so you give a trilogy of that,
and then after that's the Cold War stuff. From 45 to 57, that's all the Cold War shit between us and Russia.
I think we get Chris Pine and we do a whole 5 movies. We should start writing it. Who wants to join us? We're going to write the next Indiana Jones movie starring Chris Pine. Maybe we bring back James Mangold. I think a good script might convince Spielberg to say, hey, I'll come back in. You know what I mean? We've got to erase the shame of Shia LaBeouf. Although I like him in The Peanut Butter Falcon. He's not a bad actor.
I like him in Hose.
Okay, so there you go. I mean, that's a good one. But what else, Double A? Anything else before we get out of here?
What a cool time this was. It was released in May 1989, and then right afterwards you got Batman in June. I mean, man, what a great summer that must have been for people. You know, I mean, Indiana Jones / Crusade, Batman. You know,
Oh man, yeah, what a year!
That summer, you know, because that's what movies would stay. They would stay in the theaters for months and months and months, you know?
Yeah. Now they get out so fast because you're able to get the direct to
watch
home.
Yeah, you watch it somewhat quick.
Right.
Right. And, you know, for that to be the highest grossing movie that year worldwide, I mean, that just showed, you know, from 1981 to Raiders to 1989, you know, that people still bought into Harrison Ford. People still loved, you know, these movies and Indiana Jones movies. And for it to be number one movie, That's fucking awesome.
I remember I watched this special one time. It came out like on ABC or something like that. Maybe you remember it. Maybe one of you guys remembers it out there. But it was like, the action stars of the time or whatever. And it was obviously Schwarzenegger, Stallone. I think it had Bruce Willis. They included Clint Eastwood, and then they also had Harrison Ford.
You have to do it.
And I'm like, man, that's a pretty big class. Those five.
And it's
right
cool
there,
because I like when Stallone did the Expendables that he put him in. Because for some reason Bruce Willis was like, I want more money. That was like the whole thing.
Like, come on, man.
Like, you're doing this kind of like as a tribute to us. This is like these movies. And then it's your chance to stand side by side. Yeah. And then when he moved out, that's when he put in a call to Harrison Ford. Yeah. And Harrison Ford came out. I was like, wow, you replaced Bruce Willis with Harrison Ford. I'm like, golly. You replace him with Indiana Jones. You replace John McClane with Indiana Jones with Han Solo. I mean, upgrade?
Mm-hmm. I would say so. Definite upgrade. Yeah. Joe's comment says here, he says, I mean, he could be the main guy fighting the Nazis. Yes. You mean Chris Pine could? You mean like he'd play second fiddle to Indiana Jones? I don't like it. I say if you're gonna, at this point, you've got to maybe recast, you know what I mean? And like, and tell those older stories. Like I said, we got a big bridge.
At that time, it wouldn't be the Nazis anymore. He wouldn't be fighting Nazis anymore.
Unless these are the underground.
Unless you're talking about your trilogy, we could have a Chris Pine trilogy. Maybe that's what he's talking about.
Okay,
because they wouldn't be fighting Nazis in the 60s.
You can get him. You can have him fight the Klan if you want. I mean, that's one. I mean, fuck. We could go that route. Let's see. Have him around Pearl Harbor. Okay, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like I can dig that. I think Last Crusade is my favorite Indiana Jones movie.
For the longest, you know what? I'm going to go the same. Raiders really, really has grown on me, especially since I gotten older. But there's something about Last Crusade that's just fun. There's something fun about Last Crusade. Maybe it's Sean Connery. Maybe that's what the X factor in it.
Me and you had this discussion, which was like, it felt like the one that was most in our time. You know what I mean? Like, because 81 is Raiders. Like, that's the year I was born. You know what I mean? It's like, it was one of those things where it was like, like I knew of them and knew them. But it was really Last Crusade that really was like, oh, I feel like I was around it the most. Who has any cool Indiana Jones figures? Are they out there? I know I've seen them before. But I'd like to land one of those from my wall. Pretty sweet there. Let's see here. No, Chris Pine is Indiana Jones fighting the Ruskies. Okay, all right.
So we're talking about like plots for your trilogy.
There we go. All right, let's get pen to paper, guys. Is that how people write things nowadays? I still write things down here on my notes. And then Rich says, I think they're going to go modern and have Harrison Ford come back to fight off another person doing the same thing he does. Okay. Oh, that's kind of cool. Like a archaeologist, like a Tomb Raider versus a Tomb Raider.
Well, they kind of had that in Raiders. With Belloc.
Right. Yeah, that's right, because that's what he did. So that's actually
Belloc was supposed to be his rival.
The rival.
And supposedly they have like a whole feud dating back to their college days.
Well, I wonder where we need those stories. I wonder if those are in that young Indiana Jones.
Are in the young Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I need to revisit that show. I wonder if that's on the network you're talking about, the Paramount. So I thought Disney would have bought up Indiana Jones. Like,
should have. It was under at least the Chronicles, maybe.
I have to check it out
because that's a Lucas thing,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Maybe. I
don't know if Harrison Ford makes a bad movie. That guy's good. That guy's just really good. I've seen so many of his movies.
I like him in a lot of stuff. Sean says special edition. Yes. Sean, Thursday night, early this week, we're going to have a couple of earlier in the week shows in the next couple of weeks. In fact, next week will be on Thursday as well because we got, family stuff. But man, we appreciate you popping in. Indiana Jones tonight and The Last Crusade for Father's Day if you just arrived. Joe also says The Fugitive came out.
Oh man, The Fugitive is a great fucking movie. I saw that after like a long time of not seeing it.
Really?
Golly, that
still holds up.
Good. Yeah, that movie is really. That's a good chase movie.
Yeah,
Tommy Lee Jones, perfect. Harrison Ford, man.
I need a good gif of Tommy Lee Jones where he's like, "I don't care."
Well, even that line, I wanted to search, every house, dog house, house, cat house.
Very badass. Yeah, I didn't shoot my wife.
He won the Oscar for that.
Harrison Ford.
Tommy Lee.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know that. Supporting actor?
Yeah.
No shit. Yeah. The comedian John Mulaney has a great bit that he works in, like the whole like Into the Fugitive into the plot of the Fugitive. It's very funny.
Disney continues with National Treasure. Yeah, and they have both of them. I think those are really good movies.
Is Nick Cage?
Yeah, those are fun movies. Yeah. There's two of them, but they're really good movies.
No, I like both of those. Yeah. But I'm saying, are you saying continues as in they're going to do more?
You know what? They've talked about it, and for some reason, they never greenlit at number 3.
Interesting.
Even though both of them made a shitload of money.
Maybe it's because Nick Cage? You know what? Get Chris Pine. Chris Pine can do that Nick Cage. Rich says Air Force One was a good movie. So it's Clear and Present. You know, I've never seen Clear and Present Danger, but I did see Air Force One.
Sean Bean's, no, not that one. Patriot Games is what Sean Bean.
Yeah, and those two are Clancy ones, right?
Tom Clancy,
not Air Force One though.
But Air Force One.
Well, because he plays the Jack Ryan role. Yeah. So it was weird because I was like, I thought Alec Baldwin was Jack Ryan, but then it was like,
well, it's funny because like Chris Pine is a Jack Ryan.
Is a Jack Ryan also? Yeah. Shit, I forgot about that. Yeah. And isn't Ben Affleck?
Ben Affleck is one of them.
Everybody's fucking Jack Ryan, man. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Michael B. Jordan played like a guy that's like supposed to be with Jack Ryan too.
Yeah, that's the start of that Rainbow Six, and that recent one that we watched on Amazon. That was a great movie, man. My dad just watched it. He was like, "Dad, did you see that, son?" I said, nice. "Yeah, it was good, Dad." I was telling Dad how badass it was. Fucking Tommy Lee Jones is great. He
was super great in that movie.
He used to be a San Antonio native. Is he still? I don't know. I don't know if he still considers himself a San Antonio guy, but one of our Friday nighters, John, always famously tells us he sold him a smart car. So that's his famous Tommy Lee Jones run-in. What do we got here? Let's see. Joe says, I like how
many of Harrison Ford roles are not in pop culture.
Tell us more.
Are now in pop culture.
Yeah, I mean, totally, man. Yeah. Robot Chicken, the little boy, he's like, is that a shake? I hate shakes. I mean,
when you got like two classic characters, you know, Han Solo and Indiana Jones, you're just like, shit.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he is kind of known for the Jack Ryan. He's not. It's always Alec Baldwin, though. Alec Baldwin is always the
kind of the first one you think.
Well, everyone always just says that he's the Jack Ryan. Like, he was the perfect Jack Ryan.
Yeah. You know? And then Rich has a great comment here about the Jack Ryan on Prime.
That's right. It's John Krasinski.
That's man, who we love, and I would like to watch that. Jessica's dad was watching it. He had nothing but good things to say, so I would like to check it out.
Those fucking Tom Clancy. I don't know how he writes all those really
intense. Well, I think he's got that background too, so he's like able to kind of do that, man.
Good night, Jason.
Good night, Jason. Thank you for being here, brother. We appreciate you on a Thursday, man. Next week we'll be on Thursday again, so hopefully you join us again on that night.
Thanks.
I don't know what we're going to be talking about yet, but we'll figure it out. So we appreciate you, brother. Double A, anything else? Final thoughts on?
You know what, guys? For all you really good fathers out there, have a good Father's Day. Relax on Sunday. Do what you want to do on Sunday. Eat what you want to eat on Sunday. Watch what you want to watch on Sunday.
Treat yourself.
Yeah, you know, just be careful out there. It's going to be packed everywhere. You know.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you wake up early. If you're going to eat breakfast, get there like at 5:00 if you want dinner. You know.
If you got someone to cook for you, maybe have them cook for you that day. And if you don't, hey, go pick yourself up a big old steak and hook it up yourself. And you know what? To the moms that got to be dads sometimes out there too. Happy Father's Day to you as well. If you're pulling double duty.
Yeah, and to those dads that do that to those moms, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah, there you go, right there with that. Yeah, those guys can't.
Moms shouldn't have to be. Moms shouldn't have to be dads. Moms should just be moms.
Definitely. And to the dads that are not necessarily dads, but are doing dad duty, even if you're a fur dad, happy Father's Day to you as well, because you're doing a dad job and you're doing a good job of it, hopefully. Let's see what else we got here.
Joe says just another Thursday night.
Just another Thursday night. Yeah, for us. Next week will be just another Thursday night as well. Well, we like to call it pre-Friday, right? Double A. We're bringing it to you early. It'll suck next week because I'll have to work that Friday, so I'll be like.
And guys, I'm probably after this, I'm probably gonna watch Loki episode 2.
Oh,
I need to catch up on that one.
I'm
gonna go straight into that.
Yeah, Loki it's good. It's getting so good. We're going to talk about Loki. Don't worry. What do we got here? Comment wise, Dole.
Both seasons are good. Y'all will like them. Very good story. Awesome, Rich. I'll probably check it out. I think it's on Amazon, right?
Yeah, it's on Prime. I'd love to talk about it too. So that'd be awesome. 2 seasons.
Joe says, "Yes, sir. Happy Father's Day."
Happy Father's Day, Joe. Let's see. Let's say
Good night, Let.
Good night, Let.
Love
Let.
you.
Happy Father's Day, Let.
Love you.
Rich says, y'all have a good weekend. Enjoy it. Stay hydrated.
Oh,
Yes,
geez.
everybody, stay hydrated. Stay cool if you can. I'm supposed to be going to the lake tomorrow, and I'm kind of scared.
Get burnt.
Yeah, I'm gonna just slather myself in whatever cream I can get my hands on, and then stay in shade and in water. So yeah, let's see what else here.
In gold member's voice, Faja.
Faja, I love gold. Faja, that is Faja. Faja is that. Very good, very good. Joe, again, happy Father's Day. Let, I love you and thank you. We love you too, Let, and thank you. Guys, let's see what else here. Joe says, got some cream for you, you sick bastard. Hey, Lucky left his reading glasses over here, man. So you need to come get them and bring me that Miles Morales, please.
Damn.
All right, guys. For myself, CM Chuck and
Double A.
Before we go, we want to say something, guys. In addition to Happy Father's Day, we want to say, if you guys have a hope, a dream, something that you want to do, that you want to accomplish, make it happen. Go out there and do it. Our great conversation with Mario yesterday may be leading us to something new. We hope so. But the same way that Indiana wanted to pursue.
You know what? Mario inspired this podcast, and and his words that he kind of told us is really making me think about a lot of stuff that it's inspiring me maybe to dip my toe into something I never thought I would be doing. So
I hope he does it. I'm 100% encouraging him. In fact, saying that I will be there for him. I'll be the voice if I have to be it or whatever.
Yeah,
but I want to be in on it too, guys, because
Mario, it's like CM says, he's been a big inspiration for us. He's been a role model for us since we're both very young, teens, teenagers. So we really listen to what he tells us, and again, he's kind of the reason why we started this podcast in a certain way, in a certain unique way. We got together and we talked about having this. So I'm kind of excited. I'm trying to put a plan together of how to do this, of how to make sure I don't lose money by doing this. But he gave me a lot of inspiration. He gave me a lot of hope. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try and attempt it. So just like you said, I'm just trying to seize my day.
Seize the day, man. I'm telling it, man. You guys know we hear it. We hear it every time. We start the show with Double A's week, and it's not usually good. And it's like, but we want him to start saying it was a great week. You know what I mean? So, and Mario is part of that inspiration, man, for sure. Rich says, guys, whatever y'all do, I wish y'all the best and lots of support, man. I know
you guys will.
Bottle opener coming your way, brother. I got to get out to the mailbox. Maybe this man will take me over there and I'll get it done at the post office. Yeah. Joe says, any way I can help, I'm down. Joe, I need
to. You know what? Just you being here, Joe. That's awesome.
No, I need more, Joe. Cash in your children's college. What do you call it? Funds. And then hand it on over. Now, man, I told you, man, I'm sure your kids are going to be big leaguers, bro. And then you'll be able to really pull us up at that time. And you say, man, I remember I used to like this little podcast. You know what I mean? So, but guys, so yeah, be like Double A. Be like Indiana Jones, man. Seize the day, guys. And in order to do that, we all know what else you got to do. As Cap says, you got to do whatever it takes. It took Indiana to take that leap of faith, man, set that foot down and walk across that path. And then he also had to choose wisely. Guys, it's been great being with you on this early part of the week, Thursday night. Next week, we'll see you again at this same day.
They can hear our episode on the podcast stations tomorrow, right?
That's right. Yeah. It'll be up on everything probably tonight. You'll be able to get us on Spotify tonight. So anyone that missed it, of course, this Facebook Live will be up, but by tonight it should be on YouTube as well for you to watch this uncut, but also Spotify, iTunes, Anchor, Breaker, Stitcher, Podcast Addicts,
Amazon, iHeart,
Pandora. Yep. On all those places should all be up tonight. So guys, have a safe long weekend. Welcome the new and important holiday, Juneteenth, and happy Father's Day to you all out there in Friday Night Land, guys. Look forward to new and big things coming. So, guys, for us here at Just Another Friday Night, we're going to just say good night. Good night.